Wait till
We're live, man.
hey. Yep, all right.
We need to get that intro thing going off better. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Irongeek cast number 107. I'm going to rename it Limping Along because I'm on an old capture laptop and don't have a MacBook anymore because I'm changing positions. I got a new MacBook on order, but we'll see how things go. How's everybody doing tonight?
Doing pretty good, man.
I am swell.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hump day, right? Valentine's Day?
Yeah, tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow's Valentine's Day. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, okay, because I got my wife flowers and they were delivered to work today. To her job today,
So yes,
That's
today
what's up.
is Wednesday. Today is hump day. You know, for some, they'll be too tired tomorrow night, and so you know.
Hey-oh!
Oh,
Nice. Yeah.
Too
Feeling
tired
productive.
for 30 seconds? Nah.
well, I mean that may be your scale. I'm up to 45 now.
You up to 45?
Yeah,
Look at you.
I know. That's an improvement from 10 to 15.
Is that Jada on your? I'm sorry. I should. Is that on the on the lamp there behind you, to over your right shoulder?
Yes, that is.
Okay. Cool. OPSEC, I am so sorry.
There you go.
I think he said her name on the on live before, so
I have.
Yeah, he should be able to say it, but I should not be spilling the beans. My bad.
He's like the only person here. Well, actually, no, him and Charles use their real names like overtly. So
Correct.
I use my real first name, so
Well, everybody knows.
yeah, and everybody knows Adrian.
Yes. Adrian uses his real first name too. At
Crotchety.
least, yeah, before the change.
He's that crotchety big dude with long hair that you see at every conference, kind of sitting in the back.
Yeah.
Recording.
That's true.
Doing his thing. Yeah. Well, we're light tonight. It's going to be interesting.
We are light. Adrian, are you still growing? Like, have you been shaving your beard, or are you still growing it out? Awesome.
I think last time he was
Adrian muted.
Last time I seen him on camera, it didn't look like he had a big beard, but it just might have been dark. We were chatting the other night.
Yeah.
It's not huge, but it's a beard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it wasn't huge. Yeah.
Sorry, I had stuff looping in the background and tried to fix it. I'm gonna be muted probably most of this cast just because like my current rig, it sucks.
Yeah.
No, I got 4-year-old capture laptop, so it's not doing the best in the world.
That's what happens whenever you use a rig that is CIA, ex-CIA equipment.
Well, maybe someone planted it while I was at one of the cons.
They could have.
Speaking of cons, on the first, I'm going to be at B-Sides Columbus. Columbus, Ohio. And then I'm going to be on the second. I'll be going to see another one of our regular cast members who's not on right now, Charles, at B-Sides Nova in Northern Virginia.
Israel, you going B-Sides C-Bus?
Probably not.
Okay. Yeah, I'll be down there.
When do they stop selling tickets?
They're still selling now.
Okay. I figured they would be pretty late.
$25.
Is that all it is?
Yeah.
Nice. I may try to go. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll be down there. Was it Thursday and Friday?
I think it is. I heard a couple other guys talking about it.
I know there's some guys from work going to the Elastic training they have going on there prior to the conference, so that should be good.
Cool.
Yeah, man. So what's up? What are we getting into tonight? Limping along.
1 second. I'm look. Yeah, they got an elk training, and then, man, yes, I think it's. Is it just a 1 day?
It might be just Friday. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just Friday.
Yeah.
A lot of B-sides are only one day. Usually, one of bigger B-sides, it goes more than one day.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like it's just Friday.
And I believe B-sides Nova should just be one day too, which is the
Yeah.
second.
I think besides DFW is only like 2 days because they have like a training and then a regular conference day.
Well, I mean, technically, if you want to talk about the training, then it's 2 days for the Columbus one because they got the Elasticsearch stuff and.
Man, I hate that I can't listen to you all and do stuff around here like I used to be able to, because having ambient microphone, this thing has no built-in microphone, so I have to walk around with the laptop if I prepare food, or I can't hear anything because when it's plugged in, it all comes through the headset. This is frustrating.
Hey, just make sure you remember if you go to the restroom, mute it and don't have your video on.
Oh, dude, you remember that one time? He was up in the camp. It was great.
That one time at Adrian's band camp.
Yeah. Oh man, we were on this cast, I think, over the weekend. Adrian and me, and I think Darren popped on. A couple others popped on. It might have been the longest cast I've ever been on.
Yeah.
It legitimately went from like 11 p.m. to like 10 a.m. the next morning.
Yeah, I woke up the next morning. You guys were still going. I was like, I'm going back to bed.
Yeah. No, it was pretty wild.
Yeah, that was definitely that was a marathon.
I didn't even sleep. I didn't feel the need to.
Question: are you getting a loop back? I currently have it not going from my headset for the audio, only for me speaking.
No. And
I don't hear the loop down.
The Morse code is gone.
Yep.
Okay. Well, we'll keep it like this because at least this way I can put my microphone away someplace, turn you guys up, and still hear you while I prepare my dinner.
That's right. Okay. Want to go ahead and start hitting breach? I came back for a second there. So, we're going to go ahead and hit the breach report. So first off, this is a mail provider I've never even heard of, VF Email. Any of you guys even heard of them?
Nope.
So, let's see if I can see how many.
Yeah, not for this breach, but my God.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry. I wouldn't even call it a breach, right? I mean, this was
this is a decimation.
This was a hit and run, man. This is a destruction.
Yeah, and so just to anybody listening, give you a brief overview of what happened. So their system was attacked. The attackers were able to get on and essentially wipe out everything. So nearly 20 years worth of email gone. If there were backup systems, gone. Everything gone. And I was discussing this with a colleague earlier today, I think it was. And so, yes, this could have been a straight up 100% hit and run, or it could have been somebody's effort in washing their tracks after doing something malicious and just didn't realize how bad they washed them.
So what's the chances this was a admin disgruntled or just made a mistake?
I would actually give a decent probability chance in that.
Yeah.
Or an ex-admin.
Or an ex-admin, yeah.
Yeah.
Guys, I have an unrelated question.
Sure.
Did I not record 106?
Correct. 106, we had technical issues last week.
Ah.
So that's why now we are 106, and last week is not numbered. And
yeah, that's why I did it. I changed that because I thought someone screwed it up.
No.
Never mind. I'll work on putting that back. Sorry.
Okay. So, yeah. About 20 years. I mean, just think about that. If Yahoo Mail, or if you've actually been at a company for 20 years, but whatever you use for your personal mail, you know, I don't delete everything. I delete quite a bit. But, you know, 20 years worth of mail, smoke. How would you guys feel about that?
Yeah, it'd be pretty awful, wouldn't it? I mean, think about what people hold in their email, especially someone that's held onto that email box for 20 years.
Yeah.
Or you've got
even if it was 5 or 10 years. And
oh sure,
the other point, not only the retention, but what do we use email addresses for?
Yeah, password resets.
Everything online. Yes.
Yeah. It's it's one of those things where you potentially could have your first and original messages to your significant other back and forth, pictures that you haven't stored yet properly. All your contact list. What's
not
that?
a good idea, but some people keep passwords in their email.
True.
Yeah, bad practice. But speaking of bad practice,
well, but too, like 10 years ago, that wasn't as bad a practice. Today, now that we have all the different vaulting technologies, now it's 1,000% bad practice.
Also, I wonder how many people who used to go to have email boxes that date back to, like you were talking about, the late 90s. If they work at a university or something, how many social security numbers and other things. If I know back, those social security numbers weren't treated nearly as privately as they are now back in the late 90s.
Yeah, I have I have an email box that is probably that old.
Yeah, I have at least one that's that old.
Yeah.
And you brought up social security numbers, and I actually had not thought about that. Have most universities gone back and ran scans over their email servers to look for any type of personal information?
I've not ever worked with a university directly.
University, healthcare, any organizations that have been around like since their protection mechanism was put in place. Like
sure,
because honestly, all the protection mechanisms that I'm aware of are real time, like now and in the future. I don't know of any that like go back and do historical scans.
So let's say for a university, I'm not sure if there's any regulatory compliance reasons on why they would keep email indefinitely. Generally, companies have some rules around that where they'll delete things older than X, and that's a lot of times used for discovery.
Well,
for anti-discovery, that sort of thing. Darren could probably speak more to that than I can, but
I've worked. My job working in the government sector was near education, and every state will have regulations regarding the retention of records. Particularly comes to student records too. Like, for example, California now they have to maintain it indefinitely, so they may keep email for 7-10 years or more because it can contain student records or more. So that's something that has to be set both by state law, the governing board that handles the school, etc.
So as you move into the private sector, they're going to be a little bit more careful with their retention policies.
Yeah,
I've seen a lot of companies. Yeah, but the discovery quandary.
Yeah,
quandary. Where your attorneys want to be able to allow discovery, but they also want rules in place where that discovery isn't looking back, 5-10 years.
Right. At my current job, for example, we only keep email for a year. We don't log IMs, things like that, because it's discovery. If you discover through IMs, you can discover a lot of things that you may not want to find, or you may not want someone else to find. So.
Yeah, exactly right. That's why they do it. And if you have a policy in place, you hand it to them and say, "Hey, look, this is all we can give you."
Yeah, and two, on the private sector, I think its financials are pretty much 7 years, just about across the board, right?
7, I believe, for SOX, yeah.
Yes.
And HIPAA is, I think, 7 or 10 as well. If I remember right, I can't remember offhand.
Okay. And then I had one other point, which was
in credit card data in some companies store forever.
Yeah,
Because they're
Yeah.
shitty.
That card's been canceled for 15 years. Oh, well, yeah, I'd love it if we could actually take it out of our system. I would too.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, and the other big thing, especially, well, this is government, public, private, everywhere, but just storage size, you know, and database size, because once you have a user, if they have, 5, 10, 15,000 emails rolling in a month, oh my gosh,
Yeah,
they're
a lot of
going to
storage space.
balloon out that database
Well,
super fast.
It can get worse too, depending upon the user to keep their email box active. Because some companies will do that; they'll keep their mailbox active after they've left, so that way they
Yes.
can receive emails and forward them along and things like
Yeah.
that. So that's even more bloat.
What was that, Adrian?
Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Next week they stumbled across, and I'm like, you cannot back down to some people. You just got to tell them to sit down and shut the fuck up. And that business concerns go aside, because if you keep capitulating, you'll never get anywhere. Sorry.
I could make out most of that. You are pretty far away from the mic, though.
Yeah, that's deliberate.
I just wanted to check on how much the total storage size of Gmail is.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Um,
exabytes.
yes,
I guarantee you.
It's just
yeah,
an insane amount.
10 to the 18th power.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's ginormous.
Yeah.
But no idea what, I haven't even looked this company up. I read about the breach. Again, I get ticked off because, they're not even following your standard, your basic run-of-the-mill backup scheme strategy. You don't want to keep your backups online.
Correct.
Well, you don't want to keep long-term backups online. You can keep the last week or so, or whatever your DR strategy calls for. Beyond that,
Yeah.
offsite.
Of course, yeah, of course. But you have to have some strategy in which, you are backing up to some external, whether it be tape or offsite resource, somebody storing your tapes. But yeah, generally companies will keep around, either a couple of days or a week's worth of backups in case of an issue.
Yeah. That's like one of the SIM companies that I've worked with in the past. They have their hot storage, and then they have their cold storage. And the cold storage, like the primary system, interacts zero with the cold storage. The only way you can get access to the data in the cold storage is to request it. It's then mounted, and then it's accessible. So you cannot influence that cold storage data in any way. It's totally separate.
Yeah. 3, 2, 1, man. Everybody
That's right.
out there, 3, 2, 1.
And for anybody who doesn't know, what's 3, 2, 1, Ricky?
It's the 3 total copies of your data, 2 which are local, but on different mediums. So like different devices, and 1 copy off-site, or I put mine in a fireproof safe. So I actually still use tape backup
At home.
at home. Yeah, at home. So I personally back up my system to a little NAS that I have here, and that NAS is then backed up to tape.
Do you really back up to tape at home?
Oh yeah,
No shit.
Yeah. Remember,
you,
I've got a fairly large lab environment here at home.
so are you rolling like LTO2s?
Yes. There was several years ago, my company was getting rid of their tape device. They were going to send it to a local company that does hardware recycling.
Yeah.
And I said, if I donate, I think it was $100 to Harvest for Hunger, which is a charity the company was involved with.
Yeah.
Can I have the tape device? They said, yeah, sure. So
Bad.
they did a lot of stuff that way. It was interesting. We'd have a bunch of computers we'd send off for recycling. Instead, we'd auction them off to our users. after, of course, wiping the drives.
Yeah.
But yeah, they donate money to Harvest for Hunger, and instead of just throwing away machines, we were giving them to our employees who needed them, and at a pretty cheap cost. But all that money then went to a charity.
And to piggyback off that, if anybody listening oversees computer destruction within your environment or server destruction, for these companies who just send it out to be recycled, you get next to no money from recycling. I mean, next to nothing. If there's items that people can use, some of your IT employees, if there's other individuals within the company, or even, I don't know, could get a little iffy.
Schools,
going open,
things like that. Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
you could
schools you
donate
definitely can. Yeah,
donate to get a tax write-off, or do it on the resale market too, because there's more money in that than recycling.
Yeah, way more money. But yeah, if you just take it and recycle it, that for me just sucks.
Yeah,
because it's such a minimal amount of money for it to be completely killed off. I mean, because I've had a lot of companies in the past where they switch brands and switch vendors, but they want everything to be unified. They want one class of laptop, for such and such, a higher class
all
for
Dell
engineers. Yeah, all one specific model of Dell for regular users, a heightened spec for engineers or managers or whoever, and they'll throw out 1-year-old computers and have those recycled. So there's really good hardware just getting trashed out there. So
I know you want to add another tip to this.
I'm sure I do.
If you are, having these devices, sent for recycling, you want to have wiped the drives yourself first.
Oh yeah.
Or get a certification that the drives were wiped by the people that are recycling.
Yeah, whoever does that for you.
Even if you have to be very secure, like say you're dealing with HIPAA data or financial data, say you can't afford a fuck up. Say a 1U pizza box costs $2,000 or so.
Yeah.
You pull the drives out, that's what, $300 for 2 new drives.
Yeah.
Congratulations, you just throw the drives away and get rid of the rest. Because someone can buy brand new drives. I mean, you can go to your local micro center and buy a terabyte drive for what, $80, and bam, there you go.
Yeah, a lot of them are like throwing regular crap.
SATA.
Yeah, regular SATA drives in there now, and
instead of SCSI or
and
SAS,
no longer using the SAS drives. I mean, SAS drives are still expensive, but a lot of the brand new servers are back in the day even you could throw SATA into a SAS, right?
I believe
into a SCSI.
Yeah, because it is a SCSI interface.
Yeah.
Similar to SCSI. And let's face it, if you're the type of company to shop on the secondhand computer market, you're not exactly going to be picking and choosing. You can afford to do these little things to get something that's still cheaper.
Yep.
If you're doing that, you're trying to find a good deal, and that's a good deal.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you're an IT manager, director, whoever, your IT employees being able to build out home labs and expand their knowledge off of your dime is a big benefit.
Yep. You speak to my heart.
I always do.
I know you do. I am such a proponent of IT employees, whatever your job is within IT, to have a lab at home.
Yep.
And there's ways you can pick up, fairly cheap hardware, even if it's old. I've got some old HP ProLiant servers. I bought the drives myself, but the server class hardware I purchased secondhand, sometimes third hand, but they still do their job.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's important. I think it's important that you don't rely on your company to provide all your training. I think people that do that are going to suffer in the long run.
Yep.
Because a lot of your training is going to have to come from yourself.
Yes. Yeah, I totally agree. Because you have to have a passion to stay interested. You are going to get so burnt out if you are not interested. and you don't find topics within, I mean, even if you're not in security, just within IT in general, that really interest you.
Yeah, me and
You will get
Charles.
burned out.
Absolutely. Yeah, me and Charles have this project a week thing, where we both kind of align on picking up a new project a week. Sometimes projects take longer than a week.
Yeah,
but
I was going to say, do you always get them done in a week?
No, not always.
Yeah.
But if I complete a project, I'm going to pick one up within a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, but setting up, like my cracking rig a couple of years ago, that was probably a 3-week endeavor.
Is your cracking rig still relevant?
Yes.
Like still fast enough,
Yeah, still fast. Well, I recently upgraded GPUs.
Oh, okay. Well,
So,
then yeah, it's definitely fast enough then.
Yeah, it's nothing like what you would see at large security companies.
Yeah.
In their rigs, obviously they've got racks and racks of GPUs and
yes,
exabytes of space for either rainbow tables or what have you. But
yep.
I got the same thing. Similar little setup here at home, and I've got terabytes and terabytes of just rainbow tables. It's silly, and I have a new endeavor, which I picked up from one of our show friends. I won't say the name because he is a controversial figure.
Who isn't a controversial figure? Come on.
This person's particularly so right now.
Oh, okay.
So I don't want to rehash all that. But using these data dumps, I already stick them in a Mongo database, not a Mongo, Postgre SQL database.
Yeah.
And then he has a tool where he connects all that data so we can easily query it.
Yes.
So we can query all of the different tables using this little app he wrote,
nice.
Which is essentially amounts to script. So
yeah,
that's my next endeavor.
Now,
link all of that.
Are you talking about collection 1?
So collection 1 through 5.
Oh, okay. I haven't even looked to see if I can find 2 through 5. Because I have one.
I'll send you a link if you want, a magnet link. But yeah, all the dumps. I mean, not just collection 1 through 5, but all the dumps that we see on hacker sites or hacker forums and things that make it out in the wild, Pastebin, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Typically I'll create a database, throw them in there.
Yep.
If I see hashing, then I'll run my cracking rig against it and take those passwords and stick them in. It's really good for statistical information.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to query specific users and see where they live and their common passwords and things like that. I don't care about the person, the individual. Generally,
and
I do
heard
care
it
about
here.
Statistics.
Ricky does not care about the person, the individual. Ever.
Not in that way. I love people very much, especially you, Iz.
I know.
Israel, I'm sorry. I know you don't like Iz.
I know.
I've got to correct myself every time. What's up, Liz?
Hey, Liz.
Hey.
Hey, you should have slithered when you came on. That would have been perfect. There you go. How you doing, man?
Doing well.
What project are you working on right now, Liz?
Oh. To be honest, my project is cleaning up my house.
Well, that's
a good
still
one
a
to have.
project.
My project is making room for projects. Physical room.
Yep.
Nice.
There you go.
That was something I want to mention to anybody listening. We were talking about, Ricky was talking about kind of enterprise class server hardware and whatnot. If you do want to build out a home lab, that's not necessarily necessary anymore. So don't think that you have to have those things. They do draw a lot of power. It will take your utility expenses up. But with VirtualBox and VMware and all that, I mean, you can have a really nice home lab even on a couple smaller devices. So I just want to throw that out there.
To be specific, what I'm going to be working on soon, one of the hacker boxes I got from DEF CON, decided I'm just going to go ahead and learn a bit about, ESP32 chips. So bit of soldering and some learning how to interface and program ESP32 chips.
Nice. This is a complete side note, but
this is all side note.
I know.
Let's not screw around. I hope Steve is listening right now, because generally it's much more formatted than this. Steve knows who he is.
Good, Steve. What do you guys think in regard to USB man-in-the-middle devices, in regard to keyloggers and whatnot?
I haven't studied those things in like over 10 years, so I'm not sure what
USB
is.
Yeah.
I'd be worried.
Yeah.
What do you mean? What do we think about them?
Like,
I think they're interesting.
Yeah, they're definitely interesting, but from like a security perspective, how to detect them? Like, I've read up on it a little bit. Nobody in the world.
I did work on this was over 10 years ago. The only thing I could detect on any of them was sometimes you would find when it appears the USB hub type device.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, USB.
By the way,
Yes.
a professor I once had to explain in a paper, and she was a computer science professor. She said, I know what a hub is in relationship to electronics, but what is a hub in relationship to USB? University professors, so many are so worthless.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
But anyway, she was a nice lady, but but some were detectable that way, but most were not detectable at all. Occasionally, you would plug a keyboard into them, and you notice the keyboard just failed because there was always some compatibility issues. But we're talking about knowledge I have that's 10 years old.
Yeah.
Now with modern USB 3 and maybe a hub built into your keyboard, and all of a sudden that hub not working, there might be other ways to detect. But I haven't looked into it for years.
It really depends, though. From my research I did do on that, it entirely depends on what kind of keylogger you're talking about. Some of really shitty keyloggers try to send data right over the network in real time.
Yes.
For USB ones. Let's see. I know for some sort of man-in-the-middle USB, a keylogger like the kind you put in between a keyboard, like a separate USB attachment you put between the keyboard and the computer. Check the drivers that are installed. Because typically requires a custom driver, which may not be what your keyboard normally uses.
Well, wouldn't it have a unique hardware signature too? So if you had any kind of
it does.
hardware, like because if it does that, then you have any kind of hits on your system, it'll detect a new device being plugged in and
back when I did it, back when I was playing with them, a lot of them seemed completely passive. I don't know if they can still do that on USB 3 and 2, but I think the ones I had was like 1.1, and they didn't show a new USB ID or anything.
Right. So we're talking something like bad USB, not rubber ducky.
Correct. Yeah. Not a rubber ducky, but a bad USB. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because like the only thing that I've seen, whenever I was looking into it, was potential electric spikes or power surges occurring, at the keyboard.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And you would have to have a baseline prior to it ever being plugged. And I don't know of any company who's actually has the ability to monitor it or anything. But I was looking into it, and it's definitely interesting because power surges were the only indicator it seemed like that there could potentially be. And like I read a couple of research papers, and even a couple of the devices that the researchers used didn't even have any real power spikes, maybe just a couple bumps that you would never even notice. That would still be within the margin of error for the standard keyboard. But
So maybe the better you can get visibility and device control with some products. Like CrowdStrike will provide device control, so only certain devices with certain signatures can be plugged into an endpoint. generally what I've seen is like bad USB or something of the equivalent that kind of plugs into the USB interface, which then you plug the keyboard into.
Yes.
And that's where you get your strokes. But if you're doing some sort of device control, you should be able to protect against that. So prevention would probably be your first step. No.
Well, I've seen like the ones that the researchers were looking at, where it seemed to be completely passive, where it.
Oh
you
yeah.
You plug it into the USB drive, and the USB drive just doesn't see anything. It still sees it as an open USB slot.
Yeah,
and then whenever the keyboard's plugged in, then the hardware, the operating system is actually able to see the regular keyboard and identifies the regular keyboard, and it's just sitting straight man in the middle, passive.
Yeah, it's sort of a keyboard. Yeah. This is an interesting question that I'd hate to riff on, because we're talking to folks out there that maybe are looking for an answer now.
Yeah.
And I've played with bad USB. I've obviously worked on USB device control, looked at detecting things like this is not related, but things like rubber duckies and those types.
Yeah, and like rubber duckies, you can definitely see those.
Those are fairly easy.
Yeah, because they're actually interacting with the operating system.
Yeah, you got Wireshark can show a hit output report. There are some ways like that, but I would like to do a little bit more work on this and explore it as a topic potentially on one of our next casts. If people like that idea, we can get into our defensive strategy against that. But that's a pretty interesting question to throw out there at random while we're.
Well, it was one of the things I've looked into. It's actually
I think it's perfect. I like these type of conversations. I think they're great for the cast.
Yeah, really but the reason I haven't said it is because it's one of the very few things, if not the only one, that I've looked into that I don't know if there is a detection, a method of detection for it.
Dump firmware of all your USB devices.
Yeah.
Do it, check them on. Nothing cost effective I can think of that would
outside of like super gluing your freaking keyboard straight in.
There you go. Jack mentions that HBSS, the host-based security system, it was a DoD commercial off-the-shelf suite of software applications used within the DoD to monitor, detect, and defend the DoD computer networks and systems. He has some knowledge on this, but it's essentially what we had mentioned before in terms of HIPs.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yep.
Okay. Let's get back over to the show notes. We made it so far.
We're moving, man.
Yeah. I mean, it's only been 40 minutes on the first one. Okay. Next up on the Breach Report, we have federal MPs computer network hacked and possible foreign government attack. This has to do with the Australian Parliament. The Parliament has their own network, and that network was compromised, and currently they're not releasing a lot of data as to how the attack originated, how they were able to detect it, but it sounds like are trying to attribute it to China, which could be the case. China hacks a lot of stuff, Russia hacks a lot of stuff, Iran hacks a lot of stuff, Israel, we do.
Who doesn't?
Yeah. So go ahead, Liz.
All I know about that is some Australian MP tweeted out complaining about complaining about how the same people who are asking us, as in the Australian Parliament, to reset their passwords are the same people who demanded a encryption backdoor.
Now, did that actually go through and happen?
The encryption backdoor thing, yes, it did.
Wow.
There is currently talks of making amendments to the law with concern to the Australia's tech sector and but yeah, it's not looking good there. There is absolutely no talk of repealing the law, and I have a sinking feeling that this is going to impact a lot more than just Australia. Like my fear is multinational companies that have a branch in Australia or operate in Australia whose host country, maybe United States, gets Australian security services to essentially demand an encryption backdoor over where in Australia.
There you go.
I hope I got that out. I hope I got that across clear enough, because I know the words coming out of my mouth are not clear.
Hey,
You
I totally get it.
cold-blooded reptile.
Policy laundering. How about that?
You've been cleaning.
There you go, sir.
I totally get it.
The fumes. Yes.
Yes. Oh, you use something other than water? Man, I must have been doing it wrong.
Yeah, you're doing it wrong.
Maybe that's why my wife insists on doing the
Just
cleaning.
rub some dirt on it.
I do not envy Australia's tech sector.
No. Yeah. Yeah, I forgot actually that we had spoke about that. That was about 2 months ago, wasn't it?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Something like that.
The Australian National Security Services have released some public statements stating they have already been utilizing the law and have been giving guidance to more regional law enforcement departments within Australia on how they can utilize the laws and do exception themselves. So yeah, it's more than just a national security thing for Australia.
Yeah.
Just generic law enforcement.
Oh crap! We got 2 Rickies on here now. Man.
Oh, man.
Ricky, why have you kept these secrets to cloning to yourself?
Because
I'm
he
sorry
likes to
about
not
that.
work.
Yeah.
He sends one Ricky to work and the other one gets to hang out and drink pina coladas the rest of the day.
And then
it's my
Ricky
twin
went to-
brother.
Hey, Ricky's twin named Ricky.
Hey,
Hey, Ricky, too.
how's it going, sirs?
Ricky 1 and Ricky 2.
All right. It looks like I might have bounced. I was piggybacking off Swiss secure course. So
Just ghost your
we're
other
talking about.
ghost it.
Shit.
Ghost it. Okay, next up in the notes. We have 2 individuals charged for DDoS attacks and threats to LAX. I think we talked about some of this here a while back, but an American and here they say a Briton, so an Englishman, have been charged for sending false reports of violent attacks on schools via email and carried out DDoS attacks on websites, according to the indictment announced by the U.S. Attorney's Office of the Central District of California. There we go. They're fairly young, 19-year-old British guy and 20-year-old guy from North Carolina named Timothy Dalton. Man, that name really sounds familiar. But the British individual, he's George Ducohan. There you go. And the amount let me see if I can find it again here. The article that I listed also has the indictment at the bottom of the page that you can read through. But took place in the first 8 months of 2018. But it was something like 200 schools, I think it was, that they sent all these threats to, that the school shut down for a day or two after the threats were sent to them. I'm not seeing it here in the article, but I know I've read that. But I mean, that's just a freaking low blow. And they DDoSed quite a few different sites. I'm pretty sure one of those sites was listed in the article because I knew the site. Oh, Proton Mail. Yeah. For a week, they were DDoSing Proton Mail.
Yes, and you could tell.
Yeah.
Legitimately, I had issues logging in where it would spin.
Yeah.
I don't know that Proton sent an alert about that now that I'm thinking about it. Let me check in.
They're big enough that they should. Well, I mean, even large-scale companies.
I'm not saying they didn't. I just don't recall that they sent any alert saying, "Hey, we're under attack."
Yeah.
Yada yada yada.
What's that?
Either by Twitter or through email.
What's that big DDoS protection service called? Is it CloudFlare?
Akamai. CloudFlare, Akamai is a big one.
Yeah, but Akamai is the backend host. Do they also own the networking side of it?
Yeah, they do full-fledged DDoS prevention.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a couple out there, but most of the time, these larger scale companies will contract if they don't have their own, which most don't because they don't own all the routes in between. But most of the time, these larger companies will have some type of DDoS protection. So if they're going to get DDoSed, or once it starts hitting, that can get failed over to another circuit, and just route all the DDoS attack into a dead hole, and then all the regular traffic, just keep it up and live, and hardly anybody ever knows.
Yeah, generally what they will do is just expand on that a little more. Is they have a dedicated mitigation network, and they have scrubbing centers around the world. So they distribute it, absorb it to tier 1 carriers.
Yeah.
CloudFlare was the one that got hit with, at the time, was the largest DDoS attack ever against Troy Hunt, not Troy Hunt. Who's the Krebs?
Oh, Krebs. Yeah,
Brian Krebs.
Brian Krebs.
At the time, it was the largest, and they said, "Sorry, we can't handle you anymore," and they kicked him off the platform. I forget who he bounced to. I should know that, but he had to switch to another he had to switch to another DDoS provider.
Yeah. And honestly, there's not a lot out there. There's probably less than 10 DDoS providers out there that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
Who can actually handle real DDoS, real DDoS attacks.
Yep. Yeah, I believe that it's holy cow. I did not realize that they had arrested the guy that carried out that DDoS attack on Brian Krebs.
Yeah, didn't Krebs tracked him down and found him, didn't he? And found who he was.
Look,
and then...
I know we're on a public podcast or cast here.
Yeah.
But Krebs often takes credit for things other people do.
Yeah.
Or intelligence.
I do agree.
He picks up from other people.
Yes.
So who knows if he tracked the guy down for real?
Yeah.
But I completely missed that this guy was caught.
Yeah, I think that was last
Israeli
year.
UK dual citizen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty wild.
Yeah, because the dude even had Krebs home address and sent stuff to his home, I believe. It was getting past okay, so you DDoS me to this is personal violation, and Yeah, it's way past just so you took down a website.
Yep.
Yeah, he took it way into the personal zone.
And CloudFlare is free. Akamai is crazy expensive.
Is it?
Oh yes, yes, sir.
Now, do you also have to host your like website or whatever with Akamai to be able to even get their DDoS prevention?
Oh boy, it might have been maybe 4 or 5 years since I was involved in those discussions.
Yeah.
Because it's generally on the network side where we'd provide some oversight. So it's been quite a while. I can't remember exactly how that worked.
Okay.
Now I think we were looking for total DDoS protection.
Yeah.
Not just a particular website. So I'm not sure. To be honest with you.
So even like internet gateways and things like that, like everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
And, you've got to weigh the cost of the risk. How often is your company going to be attacked? What's the downside, and is the cost of the DDoS prevention service worth it overall to your company?
Yep.
Yeah.
That makes me, because Cloudflare does the what is it? 1111 and whatever other DNS lookups. Never mind. That does not relate.
No, it is, but it is Cloudflare.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean it's relatively new.
Yeah, like two or maybe 4 years
something
new.
Like 2 years
somewhere.
ago.
Yeah.
I remember when it first came out. It wasn't more than maybe 2 or 3 weeks after it was released, and I said, you know what, I'm going to give this a shot. I use Cisco's DNS service, but I figured I would try that out.
Yeah.
1.1.1, and my goodness, man, it was slow as all hell. It was not worth it. I understand it's gotten a lot better.
Yeah.
It's worked fine for me.
And they use it works fine now. They also support DNSSEC, which is awesome.
They also I think they were the first ones to support encrypted DNS as well.
Yeah, they might be one of
CloudFlare?
the first largest ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I think so. At least who were like coming out publicly and heavily advertising it. Because holy crap, they were heavily advertising it.
Oh yeah, and
why not?
Yeah,
it's important. I mean, we talk about using VPN and stuff like that, and we pay very little consideration to our DNS traffic.
Yeah, because actually a related topic, Cloudflare and DNS and such. I did see some tweets from an employee at Cloudflare recently who was stating that South Korea had started blocking Cloudflare's implementation of TLS 1.3, specifically with regards to encrypted SNI.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah,
because they couldn't decrypt it.
Well, that's obviously the bottom line there.
Yeah.
But I think people at Cloudflare, he stated, this is what happens. I guess this is what we get for rushing ahead before the specifics of the spec were hashed out. So I'm not been following the TLS 1.3 specifications, how that's progressed all that closely. I had thought that would already complete.
Yeah, I mean,
I guess not.
The standard's already there, and there's already companies, even on the provider side, starting to implement it. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. We have websites that I am part of that use TLS 1.3.
Does it also use encrypted SNI?
No,
that
not yet.
Probably not.
Yeah, not yet. but yeah, I mean, I think a lot of companies are moving to it. I know our standard at my last company was, we were requiring them to use TLS 1.2, but prefer TLS 1.3.
Okay.
And then obviously cipher orders then come into play.
I gotta wonder what the reaction's gonna be. Across intelligence services worldwide, if encrypted SNI becomes the norm, encrypted DNS, if encrypted DNS ever becomes the norm. Because my God,
there will be something, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like encrypted SNI, like I just looked it up because I was curious. Firefox implemented it back apparently November 2017.
Yeah, they were one of the first browsers to actually talk about compatibility with CloudFlare. And then only CloudFlare's implementation of encrypted SNI.
Yeah.
Like you go to about config, you toggle some setting, put in Cloudflare's DNS server, and then all of your DNS traffic through, at least for web queries through Firefox, would be sent through an HTTPS query to Cloudflare servers.
Yeah.
I'm reading ahead a little bit. I'm sorry. I thought you had a stoppage there.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just reading ahead a little bit on our show notes, and I am 100% surprised that there is no socio-political stuff in here.
Oh, sorry. Could insert some if you want.
Yeah.
No, we generally do at the end.
That's because I never hardly ever add that in. So if more individuals contribute to the show notes, we will talk about more.
I did, yeah. For the first 6 months, I was pretty hardcore on it. And then I think you had a good idea of the breach report as a solid segment. So I kind of backed away from it. And then Adrian was generally the one doing the socio-economic stuff or socio-political stuff. So
yeah, but then I became a lazy, distracted bastard. Just background. Oh shit! I see on Twitter that's pissing me the fuck off.
But you teach me stuff all the time. Like I think there was one called Tankies or something. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like I would not have been able to come up with that as a show topic. Mine would be like, holy cow, 2020 already looks like it's going to be amazing.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I found interesting
no.
2020 is you say please don't?
No. Please no. For 2020 is going to be amazing. I hear that and I think, oh my, it means amazing in terms of a shit show.
Yeah, it's
yes.
A shit show. Have you noticed?
You already know it is. The only thing we could do, and let's maybe talk about this towards the end, but the only thing I can do without having some sort of an anxiety disorder is to accept it and go, I'm going to see it for the comedy that it is.
But yeah, sorry for interrupting you, Adrian. I wasn't saying please no to you.
Oh, Walker.
But yes, please not you, Adrian. Don't run for 2020.
I was going to say, has anybody noticed that each new Democratic person that comes up, you have people attacking them with various scandals or various problems in the past, and it's not even the right wing that's attacking them; it's other people on the left attacking them.
Oh yeah, did see a little bit of a news article about people going after Kamala Harris for marrying a white guy. Or a Jew. I'm sorry, Schrodinger's white guy. It's a Jewish white guy.
A despicable comment that was. That question itself, the fact that she answered it shows something a little more than I thought I saw in her.
She said she loves her husband.
She should have just bluntly answered, hell no, that's not a question I'm going to answer.
What did they ask her? Is her husband white? They asked her?
She said something to the effect of, we talk about how, Kamala is such a black woman. How come you married a white guy?
Is she a black woman?
So the Washington Examiner was looking at the Twitter feed of people talking about Kamala Harris, and apparently enough people were tweeting at Kamala Harris, questioning her on why she married a white guy, and I guess she responded publicly.
As I recall, she's half Jamaican, so we can count that as black, and she's half Indian, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
The audio bit I heard was a asking to her, and she responded in an audio fashion to you. I didn't think it was an article thing. I heard the audio of it. Anyway, we don't need to get into 2020 stuff now. I know Israel still wants to go do his breach report. So sorry for distracting this thing as per usual.
Remind me towards the end, and I will pontificate.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Just make sure you don't have your video on.
I mean, this is the Irongeek podcast. We had to get some sort of politics in there.
Oh, we'll get back to it because I have something in regard to her too.
Okay, go ahead.
She's a narc.
Yes. Next up, we have 620 million accounts being sold that originated from 16 websites. I have linked the register.uk. Surprisingly, the Register puts out, whenever they have security-related articles, they're usually halfway decent. So I've linked to them quite a few times in the show. So yeah, you can read up on this. But yeah, 620 million. Some of the sites that were popped, Dubsmash, 161 million. And there's also like the current Bitcoin amount if you want to buy the information, on each of the individual sites. So like Dubsmash is just under $2,000 and then 500 PX. IEM 8-Fit, Photolog, Animoto, MyHeritage. I've actually heard of that one. It's just under $2,000 too. MyFitnessPal, I know of that one. Artsy, Armor Games, Bookmate, Coffee Meets Bagel, DataCamp, Haute Haute, Look, Share This, White Pages. So yeah,
A lot of sites.
quite a few sites.
Profis is doing work.
There you go. Okay, and that's all the regular notes we have until we get down to other stuff, which is kind of like the, normally don't have to talk about it in depth. If we want to, we can.
Yeah. No, I think the interesting one is Russia may attempt a internet shutdown.
Yeah, and you can go ahead.
No, that is something, unfortunately, in the current year, as a lot of people would say. That
2019.
I know, but it's been used almost as a meme lately. Like, it's 2016 and we're still blah blah blah, or it's 2016 and this is still going on.
Yeah, it was popular.
I hate people on my side of the aisle. I really do. Anyway, so yeah, they're talking about effectively cutting the country off from the outside world.
Yeah, and they're saying this year to kind of do like a test run. But I see it potentially going two ways. Just obviously validating that they have that control and the ability to do it. But two, making sure that they have enough going out through centralized pipes that they could mimic, China, Brazil, some of these others who have like state-sponsored firewalls.
Yeah. So the Great Firewall is something that China has an advantage over. I would be surprised if Russia isn't already working on something similar or has something similar.
And that's why I'm wondering maybe if this is a dry run on that.
And RUNET is kind of that centralized pipe, right?
Yeah.
But they do want to nationalize the internet, which for a lot of folks here, shutting off, shutting off Russia from the rest of the world, while it is an enormous civil rights question.
Yeah.
especially as it relates to those of us that want an internet bill of rights for all humans. The fact that they would have less ability to fuck with, our election processes here. And I only mean, and I'm not going to get into conspiracy theories, but I only mean from the side where there is evidence that individuals within Russia and other countries will pose as Americans and create memes and shit like that.
Oh yeah,
and it's effective as hell.
And to just FYI, this is obviously your first time here. This Irongeek podcast, we actually specialize in conspiracy theory.
Yes. Well, I just said I'm not going to get into conspiracy theories, but
now, how is Soros behind Russia's decision to do this test?
I'm sure he's funding the whole thing.
Oh, the migrant caravans that are coming up from the south. That's primarily just Russians. Yeah.
The Jewish shekels. I want to ask Liz. I started listening to a guy named Ben Shapiro. Have you heard of him?
Vaguely, you sound vaguely familiar. He likes to inhale.
I'm actually serious.
Are you really?
Yes, I don't.
Everybody knows who freaking Ben Shapiro is.
Okay,
I don't really listen to his stuff.
With him.
I don't really listen to his stuff. I was first introduced to the guy from a video where I saw where he was inhaling large amounts of bait and taking it seriously. It is largely what led to him being the target of the alt-right for so long.
Okay. I heard of him on I think the Joe Rogan podcast.
Yeah.
And then I said, because I want somebody on the right side that I think is somewhat respectable and principled.
And also, he
to listen to.
Trump, so you might get a more fair and balanced approach. He doesn't like the Democrats and he doesn't like Trump. So,
yeah,
but isn't he also against gay marriage?
Probably. No. Is he?
No, he's okay. So his stance on it is he considers it a sin. He also considers not abiding by the Sabbath a sin. He's friends with gay people. He goes to gay houses. He's famously friends with Dave Rubin and things like that. He's not against gay people getting married, but he does think it a sin because he's an Orthodox Jew. But where my question was leading was, I had heard him talk about anti-Semitic remarks, and I generally have an idea of what anti-Semitic remarks are. He was sort of conflating the BDS movement, an anti-Zionist movement, as a anti-Semitic movement, and I'm not sure if I don't know how much you know about that.
I'm aware of it.
Or what your comment on that would be. It seems a bit odd that that he could play that sort of a trick where, similarly, he will talk about Islam as an ideology and say it has nothing to do with Muslims. Couldn't you then, in fact, talk about the state of Israel and not have it be about the Jewish people?
You should be able to. It depends on how you do it.
BDS is directly against the state of Israel. It's somewhat against Jews, but it's 100% against the state of Israel.
Yeah, it's boycott, divest, and sanction, primarily for what they say are civil rights
violations.
Violations against Palestinians.
So I've always gotten the impression that it is extremely easy to reframe anything related to the BDS movement as being anti-Semitic. Partly because there are people part of the BDS movement who are anti-Semitic, and also partly because I see lobbyists related to AIPAC frequently. Well, whenever I see AIPAC come up, AIPAC, I forget what it stands for, but it's the Israel's lobbying stuff. I don't know. Whenever I see them come up in relation to BDS, it's actually exclusively in the context of calling it anti-Semitic. So I would figure it's probably a very lazy and very effective lobbying method to delegitimize BDS. And as for my view on the whole BDS thing itself, I'm against it. I support the state of Israel existing. At the same time, I have heard of some rather unkosher things happening at the Strip of Gaza, which I kind of wish the Israeli government probably wouldn't do. But honestly, I'm not super invested into it. I don't live in Israel. I have a lot of other things I focus on, and I'm just not super passionate on it. That's it.
Yeah, I believe you should be able to criticize Israel, not necessarily be anti-Semitic. However, this particular lady did some of the criticism. My understanding, didn't she have a past of other remarks that led into this? The worst thing I remember saying was
that one's fun.
All about the Benjamins, and some people saw that as a play on the whole, greedy Jew meme. So I don't know.
David Duke did kind of quote tweet, get involved in that whole chains, supporting the statement, saying, "Who do you think controls the world?"
There's a few alt-right or alt-right adjacent people. I hate to see them alt-right because some of these people don't want a nation state, but they still have views that we should be disentangled from. It's a disinterred Tyler doing thing. Disentangled from more foreign affairs and have a problem with us giving so much money to Israel for support. So there was actually quite a few people who were either alt-right or something in that sphere that were supporting her. And normally they don't support Muslims, but in this case, they came out in support.
David Duke was one of the people supporting. So I don't know if you're familiar with the horseshoe theory, but
yeah, and Red Elephant, I don't know, they don't consider themselves alt-right, but they have some views that are similar, at least when it comes to Israel. They came out in support of the congresswoman in question, and so did
Ilhan. Is her name Ilhan Omar? Something like that.
I'm not sure.
She's from Minnesota, Minneapolis, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. I know
that's who he was talking about today, and that's where. But he's mentioned it a couple of times. Apparently, she's had to apologize in the last 2 weeks for 2 comments. And I was just curious. She may have made very specific anti-Semitic remarks. My only question is, I've heard since he was on the Joe Rogan podcast, I listened to him maybe once or twice a week, and I've heard him make that claim that that the BDS movement and that stuff is veiled, dog whispered, anti-Semitic.
There are genuine anti-Semites in it, so it's
for sure.
Never too many degrees separation from an anti-Semite within the BDS movement.
Yeah, and just like for people that criticize Islam, within there's a percentage of people who are Islamophobic. Yeah. Or maybe not even Islamophobic. Maybe are racist against Muslims. Yeah, that probably would be a better analogy. To be phobic of a religion is different than being against the people as anti-Semitic folks. I'm sorry, being anti-Semitic in the disguise of the BDS movement. There was that one phrase that was repeated by some CNN guy, something like, from Palestine to the sea, something will be free, something like that. From the mountains to the sea, Palestine will be free, something like that. And I guess that was taken to mean that Israel will be wiped off the map. And the same congresswoman in her office apparently had a map of the Middle East, that location, and in over Palestine, or I'm sorry, over Israel, she had a sticky note that said Palestine. So she's an interesting character, to be sure.
And there's no accountability for anything that happened there.
Yeah.
Well, there should be. I mean, they can do. They can censure the congressperson for remarks that they make, like they did with Steve King, remove him from all committees, which they should have done a long time ago. That guy has said some pretty wild shit.
He was a jackass.
And just most recently, I think his comments went even too far for anybody to go, well, kind of like they're doing with Ilhan Omar, is, going, well, she just said it wrong. She's not anti-Semitic. She's just, they did the same thing with Steve King, Rep. Steve King. And it was just recently when he said, like, when did white nationalism and white supremacy become a bad thing?
Well, I see it as when a verified anti-Semite thinks your comment is anti-Semitic, even if you didn't intend it that way, it's clear you misspoke at the bare minimum.
Yeah. So I just, not even, this isn't even on the same topic, but David Duke, I see a lot of people complaining that Louis Farrakhan is on Twitter. And then I go, so is David Duke.
Well, yep. David Duke is kind of from before the generation of a lot of people who are complaining.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I recall both of them growing up as figures to be mocked. Nobody took them seriously. I remember as a teenager, the Ku Klux Klan marched through Cleveland. And today, it would be a bloodbath. They could not march down there. And there was really no police protection, because I remember standing on the steps of the courthouse and watching with everybody else. And we were just laughing at them like these stupid idiot hillbillies with their stupid little costumes on. Like it was to be made fun of, to be mocked. And the same thing was said of Louis Farrakhan and his ilk. I think they may both be on Twitter because they are ineffective. Now, is that a good standard? Should those people be on Twitter? I don't know. Seems like they kick people off for less, but you can't complain about Louis Farrakhan and not also complain about David Duke, I don't think.
Different interest groups.
Of course. Yeah, but I mean, if you're being principled,
totally different amount of followers too.
Oh, I don't know what their follower counts, but I'm just saying from a principled perspective, if one is a racist, both are racist, and if racist can't be on the platform, both should be off. I don't know what their follower counts are. I've never looked at either of their Twitter.
Maybe I listened to, and she's a little out there because goes by the handle Tree of Logic. She's this statuesque black woman who's looks about 50, but she's like in shape. And she got kicked off of Twitter for calling David Duke a racist granddad or something like that. A racist granddad.
Yeah. I'm like, she was being sexist. Or no, ageist. They said she was ageist.
Oh, ageist.
Yeah.
This dude is pretty old, man. I know he was had been in his 40s back in like the 80s. So how old is he now?
Yeah. I saw a picture of him in an article that was talking about his lack of influence, basically mocking him. And it looks like he's been working out and shit. From what I recall, I should look up a picture now to make sure I'm not being a jackass. But I think what I recall is seeing him pretty jacked. With these figures, they're not. I don't think they're effective. I really don't. So I don't think they're a problem to the powers that be.
Yeah, Louis Farrakhan has 334,000 followers.
How many of those people are there just to mock him?
That's true.
I would generally love to know.
Yeah, that kind of follower count doesn't exactly mean the same thing, because some people like to see the lows. There's a ton of people hate follow Trump. They don't support him.
Yeah. How many followers does David Duke have then?
I don't know. There's quite a few David Dukes, and I haven't been able to find his actual Twitter yet.
Dr. David Duke. Look for that.
I think he's Dr. or DR.
Yeah, because in this article I was reading, he was calling himself doctor.
He has 51,000. I laugh at that, and I have like nothing. But yeah, just in
But
comparison.
you're not a famous person.
What?
I want to. You're not a famous. You're not a famous racist. I'm sorry.
Ah, damn it.
You're racist. You're just not famous.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I love the clarification.
Yeah. So, real quick, while we're talking about racism and anti-Semitism and all that bullshit, a lot of people will get super stressed about that. We do deal in information security. Have no fear. Our friend Amanda Berlin has a Hackers Health Mental Health Awareness T-shirt that they're doing a fundraiser for.
Oh, yes. Yes.
So I'm going to post the link in the chat here.
We can also throw that over in the show notes, because anybody listening.
Yep, I'll do that now.
That is a good cause, and I highly recommend supporting it.
Yep. But that transition though, come on, that was expert level transition.
Yeah, like I don't think anybody outside of a Puerto Rican could do that. That was phenomenal.
Hey, you. Watch it. For sure.
Hey, I had to throw the racist undertone out there at some point.
Yeah, I like that. That was good.
I had to validate the statement.
Yeah. Let's see here. Wow. Holy shit. Did I fuck that up?
What you fuck up?
All right. I'm adding it to the show notes. I just screwed up the
I made a hyperlink
here. There you go. Whatever. And then I will what? There you go.
Ta-da!
That's good.
Yay, Ricky
there.
did it. Woo, Ricky!
Yeah. Give me $1.
Oh no.
Anyway,
I know you do a lot more for $20.
I will a lot. They've sold 26 items. They've raised $240 as of now. They are selling their 27th as we speak. I am buying one while I'm on the podcast. And I'm going to give an additional $10 because, I'm good like that.
Toot, toot. Rootin' and tootin' Ricky.
So what else? 2020, Adrian.
Oh, let me finish this. I'm typing a tweet out this a DM to someone, and I'll be on this in just a second. But the thing I brought up earlier was I am terrible at
typing.
Typing, yes, I'm terrible at that too, especially on this. I'm looking forward to my new MacBook though. Damn, the prices, the Mac tax. I overdid it. I should have probably looked for 2015 model. It probably would have done better. Anyway, 2020. The point I was trying to make earlier, I've seen the Trump, unless something really weird happens, is going to be the nominee for the Republicans.
Oh yeah.
Someone might try against him because he's not popular with all Republicans, but I'm pretty sure Trump is going to, be the nominee again for the Republicans. So let's start with the Democratic side. I've noticed everybody who's come out, someone on the left has attacked him for something. So the leftists are attacking the leftists. Like Kamala Harris, I think they brought up the scandal of her getting a position at one point in time for sleeping with a married man. At least that's the implication. Also, I don't think that's going to hurt her chances. And I don't think the thing about being married to a white man is going to hurt her chances necessarily.
Well, wasn't she the one who said that when she was in college she smoked pot, and while she was listening to Tupac and
the dates don't match up? Yes.
Yes.
Tupac and Snoop Dogg.
She graduated in '86. Maybe she was listening to the NWA and just didn't want to say.
I mean,
the thing's going to get her is apparently she has a prosecution.
I think that was still before NWA.
She apparently has a prosecutional. I'm not even drinking, guys, and I'm slurring my speech. I'm just pissed about some other stuff. She has a. Say the word for me, please.
Prosecutorial.
Thank you, sir.
Did you just say it was NWA was after 1986?
Yeah, it was 86 to 88. So
Her record.
Yeah,
is apparently not
86.
that
I
good.
remember it. I remember 100% because I remember listening to Panic Zone back in the day, skateboarding.
yes.
All right. Apparently, her prosecutional record was not that good, as far as some people liked. And I know there's certain far left groups. Well, I don't know how far left. I don't know. I've seen people on the left blame her for the incarceration of a lot of black men. And
Talking about Kamala Harris?
Yes.
yes, Kamala Harris. So if you look up her prosecutorial record, apparently there's a lot of people on the left who don't like it for that. Then you have Tulsi Gabbard. People don't necessarily like her from the standpoint of her background beliefs in used to have beliefs that were LGBT phobic or whatever you want to call it. So apparently her dad was big in that, and she's out come out and apologized, but that wasn't enough for a lot of people. Bernie Sanders has gotten attacked by smears, and I'm not a Bernie boy by any means, but he's gotten attacked by smears that his campaign last time around was sexist. I'm not sure it was any more sexist than Hillary's was. And did he actually pay his staffers better? I don't recall. Oh, anyway, it doesn't matter. Anyway, he's getting smeared.
Who did he take that money from, though?
Who did he take
Cory
this-
Booker. Cory Booker got smeared for saying one of the most truthful things. He said, "We don't need a president that's going to put down or divide people. This is really one of those times in American history. I think we need a revival of civic grace and bringing people together." And then he went on to talk about where is this? He went on to talk about basically, whites need forgiveness and empathy. All races need empathy, and on and on and on. And he got jacked for that one.
Wow.
Look at here's what I think. I think there's a very small minority of people on the very far left that these candidates are not going to be left enough for. There's going to be a problem with every single one of them.
Yeah.
And so I think they're all going to be attacked by the left. Of course, you're going to have people on the right attacking as well. I mean, people on the right are attacking Kamala Harris because, she was dating a married mayor of, what was it, L.A.,
I think it was
Los
San
Angeles?
Francisco, I thought, but
San Francisco, something like that. So they were hitting her up for that because apparently she received political favors from the man. And he straight up admitted it. This was actually, this is what Cory Booker said, just to finish it off, because I thought it was, look at Cory Booker is, he seems like a stick in the mud. He seems really fake.
he's the I am Spartacus guy, correct?
Yes. He said, if you want to have reconciliation, you can't have reconciliation without truth telling. And there's a lot of folks who don't want to tell the truth about the persistent problems of race, of inequality in this country. We got to tell the truth, but we, all of us, black, white, gay, straight, we've got to start extending grace to one another so we can have a conversation and leave room for growth. The Root said, apparently, white people need grace and empathy from black people.
All right, keep in mind, the Root is essentially the Daily Stormer, except for black people. I'm only exaggerating a little bit.
Okay, yeah, I don't know that much about them.
The Root is a pretty hateful organization.
To be honest,
one of the last things I saw from them is they were giving what is the guy's name? Something Glover. Is it John Glover?
The actor?
Danny Glover's son.
Danny Glover.
It's not Danny Glover's son, sadly or not. I'd love that connection to be made, but no. Apparently, I looked into that because actor families and whatnot. But no, as far as I know, John Glover is unrelated, at least not closely. But anyway, they were giving him shit because he's a famous black man, but he has 2 children with a white woman, and they'll give this one black lady's like giving him huge shit on the Root about it. And I'm like, the only thing you should be giving shit about is he didn't marry her after the first kid. that would be the only thing I would say you should give him shit about. But you'll give him shit, you know. The root is like,
Yeah.
At least some of the offers on there, their view on race mixing is apparently about the same as the alt freaking right. So that's why
I've watched some of their videos, and there was some of them I watched, you know, on their YouTube videos, and I didn't find them like racist or anything.
Okay.
I found them black centric, but I didn't.
It could be that
people of color centric, maybe.
It should be noted. Probably what was put in front of me is because people send me the most outrageous stuff, so that is an element of it.
Yeah, of course. But he was taking hits for more than just the root. I mean, it was kind of all over the place. Look, he should be mocked because he was the mayor of Newark, and then senator of Newark, and he has not improved Newark. He did a lot of damage to Newark.
Sorry.
So yeah, he's got problems of his own. The I am Spartacus moment. He's not charismatic. They really don't have that next Obama. Like,
see, I'd say Tulsi Gabbard if it wasn't the fact she had the whole LGBT thing it looming over her in the past, as far as, you know, used to being anti-LGBT. Now, that said, I would still vote for her because she wants to reimpose the 94 crime law. Then again, last one of these Democrats is probably like that. Like, I looked up, who's that Asian gentleman who's an entrepreneur who wants to do universal basic income tax? Because he has a similar stance. Because I went out to his page, and anytime someone says common sense gun control, I'm like, who's common sense? But who's, you know who I'm talking about? He was on Joe Rogan recently.
Yeah, I can't remember his name. I know who you're talking about, though.
And then speaking of names I can't remember, there was that lady who announced that she was going to be president while in a snowstorm.
Oh, that is Amy Klobuchar?
Yeah, I've never heard of her before.
Me neither, but she's apparently a meme on the left. She had a skit about her on the Veep because she is particularly abusive to her staffers.
Huh.
Okay.
So the skit on Veep was that they were having her shave her legs because she had to do stuff like you know, pick up her dry cleaning and wash her dishes, and she was mentally abusive to them. She would throw shit at them, stuff like that. I think she's going to be an early out. There's a couple of them. There was that one woman who was running, and she went to a black church, and then she cringily started trying to speak in what I guess we can consider. I don't even know what it's called anymore. But she started trying to speak like a black person from the South. It was weird. It was awkward. The people in the audience, you could tell, thought it was awkward.
There's a lot of these that are cringy as hell, like Kamala Harris coming out and doing some kind of dance thing and some kind of Wakanda Forever thing. That was cringy. And then Elizabeth Warren doing the whole beer thing and telling her husband thanks for coming, I think it was, when they were supposed to be at their own house. Maybe some kind of overcoming. I don't know. Maybe I misunderstood it.
I used to like Elizabeth Warren. I look, the scandals with the Native American ancestry, I just can't ignore.
Yeah, I don't so easily. Just ignore Trump or come and say, okay, we finally put a test to it. Apparently, the family legends are overblown, and I'm not particularly all that Native American. But we could,
you know, what was going to happen.
Yeah, but in the same sense, like, whenever that happens, shouldn't she have to repay, like, scholarship money and everything else?
Oh, I'm not sure what all benefits she got. Anyway,
whenever she applied for colleges, whenever she applied for colleges, she put she was Native American.
I thought that was only that one time in, like, the 70s?
No, there's apparently a lot more, and she stated that there's more.
Yeah.
But somebody was going to do Oppo research on her, and that would have come out.
Oh, yeah. The interview she gave where she said that her dad's parents didn't want him to marry her mom because her mom was Native American. But apparently, at best, her mom would have been 132nd Native American. I'm pretty sure a 132nd Native American, everything else being of European heritage, you wouldn't be able to notice much. I don't. Yeah, no, I'm not buying the story.
Yeah, and to claim any type of a race, you have to be at least, what is it, one?
Well, when
Like-
are you
like-
talking about? It used to be one drop.
Not whenever you're claiming race. I mean,
No, at one time it was
like
Oh,
rule-
seriously. In the U.S., it used to be the one drop rule. If
Genetics
you
is
had
a,
one drop of black blood in you, you were considered a black person.
no,
At one time,
genetics
I
is a
believe
weird
it's
thing.
correct.
No.
Look at Wikipedia, I'm pretty sure, but one drop rule, I have heard of it, and depending, I'm not sure what time periods and what jurisdictions it was under, but yes, my understanding at one time, it was considered if you had one.
So
One-
the one drop rule
but-
is a social and legal principle of racial classification was historically prominent in the United States in the 20th century.
I mean, in that case, then I'm black. I mean, because I have a black ancestor. But
Yeah, I have something like 2% sub-Saharan African or something like that.
yeah,
that makes me Jewish. And that means I'm going to come over to Liz's place on Hanukkah next year. Awesome.
You know, you can become Jewish.
L'chaim.
L'chaim.
I'll bring the
Okay.
meditation line.
God damn it! I talked the other night. I hate talking about race, man. It
Oh, sorry.
It
We can
just-
change the subject. We can change the
gets my
subject.
rocks off.
Wait, what?
He,
Get your rocks off is normally
he,
considered a
he's
good
saying
thing.
he likes it.
That's a bad thing. Why did I say that?
Why
You have
did
mixed
you?
feelings about talking about race, man. You have mixed feelings.
I hate talking about race. It gets me off. What?
It's like BDSM for you.
Sorry, guys.
It hurts so good.
I have thoroughly embarrassed myself tonight.
Hey,
So, yeah.
at least you can say you're not going home to your, your wife who is a doll.
That's right.
Hey, what's wrong with Donald
I
Trump?
am not.
You talking about Anthony Birch?
Oh no! Did you see those videos I sent to the channel?
Oh,
No,
Oh,
I
put
was
up.
going to look at them tonight.
The ones about doll repair.
oh
If
god.
y'all talking about it.
Oh my gosh. Charles posted one on Facebook. And this dude, I mean, it's like a 10-minute long thing. And for whatever reason, I sat and watched it. This dude's messed up. Like, he takes his doll with him. And it's a full-size woman. He takes his doll, places with him. He massages her feet. Just
Dude,
kisses her.
I can't fault with these guys if not everybody has an easy time getting any kind of affection from real people. You know, it's not real affection. Sometimes affection from real people isn't real affection either, and it just kind of needs something to be that simulation.
Agreed,
Yeah.
but that doesn't even give reaction or any, like the animatronic ones and the robotic ones. At least
True.
they have some type of something. This is just some cold piece of thing sitting there, laying there.
So, but like I think like I said on Twitter, yeah, it is a bit weird, and so is the cuddle people, women that will or men that will cuddle with people who are lonely.
People get paid for that?
What?
Up to like
Yes.
$100 an hour.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Woo!
but listen, for the people it helps. I mean, there are legitimately some lonely people that may commit suicide if that wasn't available to them. So while I think it's weird, and weird's okay, if they find solace in it, if they find peace in it, okay. What the hell am I going to say about it? I mean, the one that I thought was super out there was the guy in France that has erotic sex with what's the word?
The
Like people that can't move with that are paralyzed or
Well,
they are
that's handicapped,
significantly disabled,
like quadriplegics.
like significantly disabled individuals. He has sex with them. And he's in France. There's a whole documentary on him. That one I think is this is consensual adults, by the way.
Isn't
but
that called still a man whore?
yeah, he provides, he says, therapeutic services to the severely disabled. So, I used to think differently of the cuddle services, and then I knew a guy at work who was a man in his 50s. He was really overweight, balding with white hair, may have been with two women in his entire life. And when we were talking about this, I was thinking, and he was defending it.
Yeah.
And I started thinking, holy shit,
crap.
I wonder if he might use something like that.
Yeah.
How much different is it than prostitution? And I think prostitution should be 100% legal. I don't know why we care about consensual adults exchanging money for a service. I really don't.
Well, that's what geishas were for in Japan. They were not there for sex. They were there for companionship, for talk, for so you had someone to be with rather than someone to be intimate with, even.
Yeah. So now we're getting to the point where we've got what would you say? Things that aren't living. They are. Rubber essentially. At some point, they will be robotic. At some point, they will be more than that. They, in the future, if we don't kill ourselves or wipe out our civilization, these things may actually emulate humans to the extent where, like Ex Machina, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between a human and this person.
Well, see, those are already
robot.
available, but there's still people choosing to not even go down that road.
No. I'm just saying, as time goes on, as technology gets better, this stuff will seem less weird. You know what I mean? Like,
I guess.
Yeah, this is a lifeless doll, but somebody finds comfort in it. I think it's weird, but again, I'm not in the same circumstances as this individual is. In the future, if these are fully capable, sexual robots, then you got to think about the morality of it.
Well, that's
are
what I'm
they
saying.
able to make a decision to have sex?
So you're saying, actually, though, for them to have intelligence, because a lot of the robots are already fully sexually capable. So
no, I'm saying,
you're taking it to the next
intelligence. If they're able to pass, let's say the Turing test, I know is antiquated, but you know what I'm talking about. If they're able to pass that test, where do we stop? At what point do we consider the morality of how we treat these beings? And even going a little further than that, what about people that want to create, pedophiles that want to create child robots?
Oh, they already do that.
I know they have real dolls that are children sized and shit.
I think brand. I'm pretty sure Real Doll was the same.
No.
But
I think Canada is the only country where you can't import those things. You can't even have drawings of that.
But is it the Real Doll brand that makes like little girl dolls, or is it? I'm assuming it's some other brand, but I don't.
It's some other brand. I think it comes out of Japan. But
see, it's too risky
for a
company the size of Real Doll to start getting in those kind of controversies.
Yeah, because
just having the love dolls is enough.
The big ones, I don't think they do.
Was that?
We're talking a magnitude of morality distinction when we're talking about an inanimate object that is shaped to be a child, and all the ramifications of that, and a robot who believes they're real and a child, but they're not a human.
Yeah, I consider both gross
and abused.
Though I've heard some people.
It's an interesting philosophical question, I think.
Well, so I don't find the adult female robot gross. The little girl one, I find that freaking gross. At the same time,
I don't think the adult woman one is gross either. I just think that there is a question of morality, meaning they're programmed to do a certain thing. And if they have intelligence, is it right?
I still think
That's
we're a
all.
long
It's
way
it's
from
it's
intelligence that's anything like a human
it's a thing.
intelligence.
Yeah, I just like these little thought experiments. You know, that's all.
That's all. Nothing else. That's it.
So how soon till I can get a doll that's a replica of Linda Carter and have me tie her up with her lasso of truth? Forget I said that.
I said something worse on Twitter, so
When Linda Carter, she looked. Last I saw, she's still a beautiful woman. But anyway, that's my fixation.
I never found her all that hot. She doesn't have a booty.
Okay.
And
Really?
Oh,
really?
oh,
I mean,
okay.
come on now. Look, I'm sorry, but Linda Carter was like what in her? She was a product of the before that phenomenon took off. But
She
you
was
do-
like 45 with a flat booty.
but
Yeah,
I mean, she did have nice eyes. You got to give her that.
Yep.
Yeah. Eyes. So yeah, I think we talked about this the other night, Jack. Like eyes are the first thing I kind of look at. That would interest me. Like you go, ooh, those are some lovely eyes, and it doesn't matter if it's a guy or a girl. Like generally, the first thing I notice is someone's eyes. Like, wow, those are nice eyes, or
I'm gonna wear
lovely eyes.
I'm gonna wear sunglasses around you always.
I hate your eyes. I would
I
like
know.
to poke them out with needles. Hey, Jack. He heard us talking about sex dolls and robots and came on
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
school us.
because I didn't hear you guys talking about cracking open a cold one or
Crack a
So,
bottle.
You want to crack open the cold one while fucking a sex doll?
no. No, I'm just
I
saying.
mean,
I'm just saying. There's nothing wrong with a sex doll. There's
I
nothing wrong with
absolutely
real
agree.
dolls. As long as
I
it doesn't
absolutely agree.
as long as they don't pull off a going to the morgue and pulling out a cold one, or I mean, eventually maybe it will get to Cherry 2000S levels.
Yeah, that and that was my thought experiment. I don't know if you heard it. Just thinking through the evolution of technology and how quickly we might get to a real life doll who does think that they're human, and then what's the morality behind selling them for sex?
I mean,
It
but
seems weird to me.
if you think about any of the current computing systems we have, there's no computing system unless you tell it that it's human can try to figure out and think that it's human.
So
Not right now. We're talking about in the distant future.
Yeah, but that's what I'm also equating
Stop
in.
arguing with me.
No, I'm not arguing. I'm just saying,
I know you're not.
we can have data
giving you
centers
shit.
full that are all running the same back-end neural network, and AI framework, and it still cannot make itself get to the point of thinking it is a live being. For us to get to the point where something that can be held within a human-sized apparatus, to be able to do that, I mean, we are just a stupid way amount of time away from that.
yeah, I think part of the discussions on the future of technology are muddied by the marketing terminology that's used. Partly in that it motivates the people working on artificial intelligence. It also gets people thinking that the trajectory of the future is vastly different than what it's probably going to be. I mean, there is absolutely nothing even vaguely close, not even the tiniest iota of a thought that machine learning is capable of any real sentient thought.
Correct.
So basically, we can replace things like journalists with it, but not necessarily
Correct.
computer programmers.
Because journalists is essentially regurgitating known data.
This is what I liked about the whole Elon Musk and Sam Harris and some others hopping on the AI doomsday thing. And when you talk to people who do AI programming, they're like, we are far, far, far away from anything like that.
No, I mean, the ramifications of such good image recognition technology, even if it's not foolproof in all weather conditions and lighting, in that alone is absolutely astonishingly impactful in society, and it will become more impactful as it's utilized more often. But we don't really have many of the big thinkers talk about what ubiquitous facial recognition, what the implications of that really are around the world. Oh, this asinine talk of killer robots distracts from the real threats that are likely to happen in our lifetimes.
Yeah. You know what freaks me out?
That was not meant to be a jab at you. It's more so a jab at futurists who
no,
puff
please,
hot air.
Please, yes, and I was kind of laughing at the futurists a little bit as well when I was speaking of Elon Musk, and I think even Stephen Hawking got on this bandwagon, and some of the other ones. I like the thought experiment. I do. I like thinking about things like that, regardless of their regardless of the chance that it can come into realization. It's just an interesting thought experiment. Like, what if these things can be created? What if we do have a ex machina type android and they're used for sex? You know, like, what? Again, what's the morality of that? And then there's going to be a certain amount of the population who wants child versions of that, and then it gets weirder. But what scares the shit out of me, and what's closer, are these goddamn wolf robots that Google's making.
You're talking about the Boston Dynamics thing?
Yeah, the Boston Dynamics one.
Yeah,
where they're like
Google
walking
owns them.
and
Didn't Google get rid of Boston Dynamics a while ago because of bad image, bad PR?
I remember them acquiring them.
I know there were.
I actually don't know if they're owned by Google anymore. You're right.
I know there were definitely talks. Google was saying this doesn't really fit with our image. The robots are incredibly creepy and keep bringing killer robot rhetoric, killer warfighting robot rhetoric to our front door. It's not the image we want to promote for Google.
Yeah, they did so.
They bought it in 2013 and sold it in
2017, I think it is.
2017, yeah. So they had until they sold it to Japan. Oh no!
Hey, it's robots. Of course they did.
But some like the big dog. You guys, do you guys watch Black Mirror?
Nope.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen the most recent one that came out.
Oh, the most recent season?
No, the new season hasn't come out. They just released the movie.
They did like the hour-and-a-half one, whatever it's called.
Oh yeah. No, I haven't watched that either.
Okay.
I've heard it was garbage, but no, I'm talking about the ones with the robot dogs that were attacking those people. We don't know why those people were living in a post-apocalyptic world.
Yes.
But they were going to a warehouse for supplies, and those black robotic dogs surrounded them. You know, it was like it had to be a play off of the Boston Dynamics big dog robots. But I mean, you even see some of the human-looking robots, which, you know, you see them, trying to be attempting to be tripped. They can't be tripped. They jump over fences and shit. Yes. Like, I can't see these things yet. Cool. They are cool. They're also scary. I can't see these things yet becoming sentient, meaning they could follow military direction. I can see them being remote controlled.
Yeah, I can see them as pack animals and so forth. That'd be pretty cool. The same kind of role.
Yeah, but sentient is still not the same as following direction.
Yeah, I don't know how sentient you have to necessarily be a
Yeah,
a pack
following
mule
direction is still a set of rules.
or a pack
you
mule
know?
with guns on your back.
Or they could be programmed to follow a beacon.
Yeah, and that's all
Yeah.
programmable. That's
Or,
all
again-
stuff that can currently be done. That's not
Yeah,
intelligent.
just
thought.
being remote controlled by, some gamers sitting in a room, at the Department of Defense or wherever.
Yeah, similar to our drones.
Similar to drones. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You could see a scenario like that where, we don't send servicemen into battle anymore. Yet we have these robots of superhuman strength that can jump over walls and are not prone to taking a bullet in the chest and dying. They just, it's wild. It's
Yep.
wild shit.
But there's a great video by Saga of Akkad about this, where he's beating the hell.
This guy.
Someone's beating the hell out of one of those pack mule type robots, and the guy thinks getting pissed off and like, stop doing it, and shit and then I think it ends with some. Well, I'll see if I can find the damn video.
With the pack mule kicking him in the face.
No.
Oh,
Just,
I mean, I would have liked that. Okay, while he's looking that up,
I may not be able to find it because he keeps getting channels removed, and he lost this one maybe.
yeah, we can hit a couple of the other stuffs on here. So there's a vulnerable WordPress plugin that has now been patched. The plugin, let's see if I can find the name of it real
I want
quick
to
here.
talk more weird shit.
No, we are, but I'm gonna
Okay.
throw a couple of the other stuffs on here real quick, and then
Okay,
we'll talk
cool.
more
Cool.
weird shit. WebArcs is the company who made the plugin called the Simple Social Buttons. So apparently 40,000 websites utilize it. I'm sure the vast majority of those 40,000 websites have not patched the plugin yet, so that can be exploited. And then, Adrian, have you found your thing yet?
No, I think he named it something weird. But
He
he's like,
hasn't seen his thing in 15 years.
it's a really cute video. You can find.
That's fat bastard.
But basically, these people keep testing the robots by kicking them over or dropping the box out of them by snapping out of their hands, and the robots just keep complaining. And then at the end, he says something about, all right, we're gonna do the uprising or something like that, like Terminator.
Yeah.
But I can't find the damn video.
Okay, Adrian, your worst nightmare?
My worst
Who
nightmare.
are
Smurfette.
who's generally in the tech industry? Where do they lean politically? And what are we potentially in the middle of?
Wait, are these social questions?
Oh yeah, I think
okay.
he knows where I'm going.
Right. What was the first question again?
First question is, the people that program and develop these sorts of things, where do they tend to lean politically?
It actually leans all over the place, but there's so much development is done in San Francisco and Austin and I believe
Where
Portland.
do they tend to lead?
They tend to lead left on that.
Yeah, like 90% or something. To
But
that
if you
effect.
go outside of that particular areas, I think you'll find pretty much all sorts of different political ideologies.
Yeah, I'm saying worst nightmare case. This civil war that everybody wants to have happen. There's actually a group of people who identify as collapsitarians.
What's that one? I haven't heard of it.
I imagine it means nihilist.
It's pretty much what it sounds like.
To me, I just imagine a possum playing possum because they collapse.
So it's generally people. So there are people that become libertarian.
Yeah.
And it is a pipeline for the alt-right. It is. Speaking as somebody that is on the left side and also a libertarian, which I know a lot of people have a problem with that definition, but it exists. It's real. Fuck you.
Well, everybody's an individual with individual views and everything else. So,
yeah. So their belief is they become a libertarian. This is from Urban Dictionary. For a few months, they realize the whole system is messed up, and then move on to anarchy, where you want to change the system, shortly becoming a collapsitarian and sitting back and watching it all burn. So basically, they want everything to collapse.
oh, so not them, just everything around them.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and there's other ones that just want complete destruction of the majority of the human civilization.
Yeah, I can see that.
I watched a pretty weird video. You get those recommended videos on the right side. I could watch, Adrian sent me this Tree of Life video, which had an individual that I don't have interest in. He's just a scary individual because he is so effective because he's so intelligent, but he also happens to be very racist. So he weirds me out in a way that other people, I don't think anybody else has. So on the right hand side, you get recommended videos. When you watch a video like that, your recommended videos all change. I was watching this video on the right hand side. It was like the blackest pills you'll ever read, or the 3 blackest pills no one's told you about, something like that. And they were pretty bad. And I have to do some research to see if they're real. I assume that the person didn't put this out because they've got a pretty big channel that they wouldn't just put out fake shit.
Now, what does pill? I'm not familiar with the.
So,
what does pills?
You know what blue pill, black pill is, right?
I know blue pill, red pill.
Yeah. Blue pill, red pill. Black pill is where you see everything for what it is and realize we're all doomed. I think is what it means. Adrian, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not super familiar with the terminology.
I'm not sure.
I think that's what it means.
Red pill, black pill, different things to different people. Like I saw this one feminist studies major professor or whatever talk about what the red pill movie was about, and she got it entirely wrong, and she got called out on Twitter. Just block. Oh man, there's so many worthless college professors. Anyway, but black pill also means different things to different people. It may mean completely destructive in some cases. It may also mean red pilled, but beyond to the point where you don't recover. I don't know what the hell you call it.
The video I watched, the context is that we're all doomed, that civilization is doomed to die for a couple of reasons. And one I found particularly off-putting, and that was in Northern Europe, they decided to do a study about plastic in fish and in other animals, and if it's in our systems, because they find it in fish. They find it in fish feces. They find it when they cut open fish. So they tested a group of people, opted in for the study. Every single member of the study had plastic in their feces. Now, we don't know what plastic does to the human body as it goes through digestion and into our blood. Could that be the presenter poses? Could that be the reason why we see such high rates of anxiety and depression, potentially transgenderism, and a whole sorts of other things? That was disquieting. Since 1970, we've wiped out something like 60+% of all mammal life on Earth.
Since when? 1990?
1970.
Oh, 70. Okay.
And I forget the year. The other year, we've wiped out 83% of all mammals that have ever existed.
Now,
since like the 1800s, maybe something like that. But it was like these things where you were like, fuck. They talk about the low testosterone in Western men.
Yeah.
like down by 50%, and it's falling by 1% a year.
Now the
No, sperm count. I'm sorry, sperm count, and then low testosterone.
well, but sperm count's a direct reference based upon low testosterone, though.
Yeah, I don't know the
so-
science behind that.
So the reference to 1970, where you said mammals have reduced that much, is that
No,
statistic?
humans have killed or eliminated that many. Let me see if I can look up the exact.
Yeah. Well, my
figure.
question is, was that species or within species? So not killing off all and the species still exists versus the
All right.
species is now gone.
It says humans wiped out 60% of all animals since 1970. Animals, not
What is the
mammals.
source of that?
What's that?
What's the source of this?
Let's see.
PETA.
The WWF. Let me see if there's another one here.
World Wrestling Federation.
The Guardian. No, I think that's the World Wildlife Foundation.
Oh, okay.
I don't think Vince McMahon has.
Yeah, to my knowledge, yeah,
see.
that WWF isn't full of loons. So maybe it's something, but 60%. I'd like to know what they mean by. They mean species. They mean
Yeah, me too.
animal
Again, I
mass?
said I needed to do a. I needed to research some of these findings to see how exactly how real they were.
Yeah, I mean, because I'm just
because you
curious.
watch these videos, and this person has a pretty big channel, so I assume some of that he had there was some truth to these statements. Now I know about the low T, and I know about the sperm count decline in Western men only.
Yeah.
And then I have heard quite a bit about the plastic issue from a number of different sources. So those ones, I was pretty confident those were right.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
Yeah, I hate to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but I think something must be messing around with people's hormones. Because
probably. There's also, we went through a punk phase, a grunge phase, a cutting phase, how many heavy metal. I mean, fads come and go. I would never discount somebody who believes they're transgender. That is something that I couldn't know how to deal with or what I would do if I discovered that. Generally, my understanding is you discovered at a pretty young age, so I would know by now if I thought I was a woman born in a man's body. But with kids converting late in school, they call it late. What was it? Late realization transgenderism.
Late bloomers.
Yeah, they are extremely suspicious of those.
Oh, you mean rapid onset transgender? Oh, gender.
Yeah. That might be the one. That might be the one. The rapid onset.
Which I know one of my friends online, Ultra, she said that's pretty much bullshit. Those other things,
Yeah.
I see that it matches what I see from, let's say, women of a certain age who spent too much time on Tumblr.
Yeah, because generally, isn't it most of the people doing the conversion are male to female, female to male?
Well, the rapid onset ones, a lot of times, my understanding, it is female to male or non-binary.
Yeah, I thought that's what I just said.
Oh, sorry, I misheard you. Sorry.
No, I might have flubbed it. That's what I meant to say. But I'm not a scientist. I'm not an expert. Not a psychiatrist.
But
not
too,
a psychologist.
I think it's a lot easier to go female to male than male to female, because you can load a shit ton of steroids and testosterone in there and be able to grow facial hair and do all those other types of things to actually go from a testosterone rich environment to reducing that and increasing estrogen is a much more difficult process.
Which is why so many people
really.
have problems with male to female transgendered folks fighting in MMA, powerlifting, in the Olympics.
Yeah, I'd like to get back to that.
And the list goes on and on and on.
Jack, you want to say something, Jack?
Well, I mean, I have told you guys about the one guy I served with that that explained a lot of the things that he did. And of course, a couple of years ago, he came out and said, "Hey, I'm trans," and then I was like, "Wow, that makes a lot of sense to how he was then."
Yeah.
Like he would come home completely tune out his wife and just jump on EverQuest and just stay on EverQuest.
I worked with a guy, now a woman like that,
because
you could tell.
Yeah,
they weren't gay, but you could tell they were experimenting.
Well, no, I mean, I would pick him up and drop him off or pick him up from his house and take him to work, and so back and forth, so on and so forth.
Little side piece.
Well, I eventually fucked his wife because she was getting frustrated with it.
Oh, no. I wasn't going to go there, although I figured that also happened.
Right.
I could see you in some sort of threesome, but I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. He was in the room, but he noticed we were fucking, and he just threw on his headphones and just kept playing.
Was it it wasn't the Puerto Rican dude, was it?
No.
So this is a woman to man transition we're talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
No, female. I mean, male to female. Yeah.
Oh, male to female. Okay.
I hate talking about this subject too because it's such a landmine. I really want everybody to know out there that I don't know absolutely anything about what I'm talking about except for shit that I've read or seen on the internet. So, I know some transgendered people.
Ricky, that's because you're privileged.
I am. I don't know how any of us can say we're not. I'm privileged that I have a computer and a cell phone. Privileged that I have a car. I'm privileged that I have discipline. There's a lot of things I have privilege.
But why?
But why do I have those things?
Yeah, does any of it have to do with you worked your ass off to get them?
All of it, almost all of it.
Okay, good. Just checking.
Yeah. Yeah, like what Howard Schultz, I came from the projects legitimately. Yeah. Oh shit, we're live. I don't want to go too much into it, but
we are live.
Yeah. And we're stepping on landmine after landmine. I hope anybody that's listening to the cast that is transgendered, please don't think we're putting transgender folks down. I don't think that's any of our intent.
I don't think we have in any way.
I think we are just openly talking about it. Again, we're all a bunch of dudes. As far as I know, we're all a bunch of straight dudes.
Yeah, since Mary's not here, I wanted to address her putting make on.
I got Liz today. In my eye. I'm about 10% gay. So, there's that.
We all know.
Yeah. Let's see.
Actually,
I wanted that disclaimer out there because
dude,
I don't want to seem insensitive.
We took a vote. That's now been raised to 25%.
For real?
Yeah. Sorry. Just FYI.
Kiss the man.
Because
I think you have to kiss a dude to be 25%.
Because I think you've hit on just about everybody in here. So yeah, you're up to about 25%.
I've not hit on Darren or Liz
yet.
I only hit on you because you're short and you got a nice butt.
How am I short? The same height as you. Unless you consider yourself short.
There is no way you're the same height as me. What are you talking about? You are not 5'11".
Yes, I am.
You lie like a dog. That's fine. You might have been wearing super slippers when I saw you or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
You might be 5'11".
like
don't
you
know.
wear your high heels. I know, I get it. You like those things, but yeah.
Dude, I was talking to Cap at the
Now
conference.
Cap is a freaking giant.
He's a giant, and he was telling me, he's like, "You're not that much shorter than me. What are you, like 5'11", 6 foot?" And I said, "I really don't know. I can't remember the last time I got measured." And then we were talking the other night, and he's like, "No, you're like 5'8" or 5'9". I'm like, "What? The hell?"
He understands with age, you know, the spine starts to compress, the cartilage breaks. He gets that, you know. So
we're not that old yet.
He realizes,
Israel.
No, with your age, that
wait,
all those
aren't
items,
you older than me?
No,
I think you are.
Because you're 40 or over, right?
I'm 38.
Oh shit! For how much longer?
Till July.
Damn it! I'm older than you.
Me and Jack.
What? I'm older than you, so.
I thought you were 38 too. My bad.
No, that's Charles.
Yeah, Charles
that's
is
Charles.
also 38.
Jack is 57. Black
Yeah.
don't crack.
That's right.
Yes. Now, where's my senior citizen discount?
Yeah. No, I can't tell you how many black dudes I've have been in bars with and shit. And all older black dudes who look young when you're in a bar drinking with them, they'll all ask you, "How old do you think I am?"
Yep.
Almost every time. And you're like, I don't know, like 42. I'm 67 years old. What? No, wait. I got to see. They pull out their driver's license. Sure enough, 67 years old. Yo, holy shit, man.
That's because they get a fake ID to look older.
I don't know how white folks can be racist against black people, because they beat out in every way, just about.
Well, yeah. I mean,
They are the super race, man.
Honestly, like.
And white people, I'm sorry, please don't be offended.
Okay, I think we're diving into territory where we can stop the broadcast.
Yeah, I'm just making an ass of myself on purpose because a guy from work is listening, and I want to trip as many landmines as I can.
Okay,
while he's on.
Let me briefly hit the.
I love everybody. I love you, everybody. I love
There's a few more landmines you could hit. I mean, you've already covered child sex robots.
Yeah.
Talk about mainstream politics.
Transgenderism. Black pills.
Racial supremacy. Black pills.
Supremacy. Black pills. Yep. I think. Well, what other ones are there to hit? Really?
All right. Let's let Israel walk us out with whatever he has left.
Yes. Yeah. I'll walk out the rest here. Real quick. Shoot, I don't even know how to pronounce them. Xiaomi, Xiaomi. They're scooters. I think they're used like, shoot, what is that popular scooter company?
Razor?
No, like the ones that are being used for like public transport in the cities.
Oh, yeah, we got those here. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever those are, I think those are Xiaomi's or whatever they're called. But there's actually a vulnerability with them where you can bypass the kind of local admin login and be able to send commands to the scooter that does not require authentication. And so you can do things like...
You can steal them.
Well, not just steal them, but while somebody's on them, if you're within a close enough radius, be able to jump into the scooter, and then, like, if they're going, I don't know how fast they go, but say like
you ride around super fast.
Yeah, 10 miles an hour. You could increase their speed. You could do an immediate brake, on them and make the person like fly over the handlebars. So, some fun stuff happening there. We already discussed the Russia may attempt to shut down. FYI, it's Patch Tuesday. Patch your shit. And then Darren, you're not on, are you? Because he had to drop off for a couple minutes.
18 miles an hour.
18's top speed.
It looks like. Yeah.
I still wouldn't want to go. Model. I still wouldn't want to go over the handlebars of one of those things going 18 miles an hour, though.
No, they're talking about they've legitimately caused death in cities. We've got all kinds of electronic type transportation methods.
Yeah.
In the city I live in, or work in as well. There's like these weird. You remember pogo balls back in the day?
Oh yeah. I
So
think they
it
still
looks-
exist.
Yeah, they probably do.
Yeah.
But it's got the platform like a pogo ball, but the middle of it is a wheel, a little bit smaller than a bicycle wheel, and
Okay.
they stand on the platform and lean forward.
Yeah.
And I swear they go 10, 15 miles an hour, and they just zoom around you.
Really?
We got my kid
Like a
one
razor
of
or
the
something?
One of the hoverboards.
well, the hoverboards.
Yeah.
For Christmas. He can ride it. Now I used to skate. I was semi-professional, sponsored by Cow Skates, which
Wow.
For whatever that means. I wasn't good enough to be pro. But I used to skate pretty heavily, and I hopped on my son's hoverboard.
Bust your ass?
And just about busted my ass.
Oh, did you pull a Tyson?
Yeah, exactly. My son rides it like it's no problem. He just zips around. He's only allowed to do it in the living room right now, because it's winter outside and he's just learning how to ride it and whatever. So he just like casually while he's playing, something Xbox with his friends, he just is cruising around the living room.
Yeah. Yeah. One of my buddies, his daughter, he and his wife got their daughter one for Christmas.
Yeah.
And she just zips around everywhere on that thing like it's, second pair of legs.
Try hopping on it. I'd like to know how you do.
Well, I didn't. It's what
I
one
know.
of my buddies.
No. Yeah. You go over your
me
buddy's
actually
house.
getting on? Yeah.
Yeah, I think something might happen if we don't exercise that balance part of our ears and head and whatever.
Yeah.
Somehow, as we get older, we lose control. That's the only thing I can think of.
No,
Like,
I mean
why?
it's one of those if you don't use it, you lose it. So I mean, if you start to reacquaint yourself and start spending time like traveling at a low speed on it in just circles, you'll eventually get that back.
Yeah, but it's definitely not the same as a skateboard. Whenever you were doing your skateboarding stuff, your skateboard's going sideways, and then you're standing, front ways to kick and, build up momentum and speed, and then you're putting a foot back on the back. With these things, you're always frontward. So it's definitely a different environment. I wouldn't definitely say they're apples to apples.
No, I did street skating mostly.
Yeah.
Which some of the tricks call for, leaning forward pretty heavily.
Yeah.
But you're right. I mean, the orientation is a bit different. I will say we also got him a pogo stick.
Yeah.
And my wife said I could not complete 2 bounces on it. My son did 5. I did like 40.
Yeah.
On a pogo stick. So I was happy with myself.
Yeah. And there's certain things that certain people just are not oriented to do. Like,
I could still, when's the last time you rode a bicycle or a bike?
Probably like 6-7 months ago.
Yeah, but like, I could hop on one right now and ride like nothing.
That's
like
because
that balance doesn't go away.
It's because
the
it's
old
like
adage,
riding a bicycle.
Exactly, the old adage, it's like riding a bike.
Yeah.
I am so frustrated that my neighbor's kid brought over his skateboard, and I was going to show them some tricks, kick flips, and my ollies and ollie impossibles and whatnot. And I stood on it, and I was like, if I keep standing on concrete, I'm going to fall off. So I had to take it into the grass to show them. And I could still ollie, I could still do kick flip. I could still do a hill flip. I couldn't get the ollie impossible going because I couldn't build up any type of speed, but still, Holy shit!
I mean,
And
but
Tony Hawk still skates.
yeah, but he still does it every day, and I think a big
Yeah,
part
true.
of it is body mass. You know, because whenever you're doing that, whenever you were younger, your body mass is obviously different. Your muscles are obviously different.
Oh,
And
sure.
so you have different weight distributions. You have more or less muscle mass in different areas. And like with Tony Hawk, his body, I'm sure, has changed over the years, but he's still
Yeah.
been skating through all those changes.
Yeah,
But-
he's still used to it.
Yeah. But
I'll
with
tell
you, you know,
yeah.
you haven't necessarily been skating throughout all those years. So it would take
No.
you 6 months to a year probably to get back to the
When I was 25.
place you were. Yeah.
I would like to start again because it was fun. I will tell you, falling at
Was
this
definitely
age,
going to hurt more.
Yeah, it's gonna hurt.
oh my god,
You're going to be out there with
It's
knee pads and elbow
unbelievable.
pads and a helmet.
I used to fall on my skateboard all the time. I would, we'd be, doing rails and on half pipes and shit like that, and I used to, fall straight down on my back, and get right up and start skating again. Man, if I did that now, ambulance time.
Yeah. You'd be duct taping a pillow to your ass.
Exactly.
I cracked my tailbone.
Yeah. I had a hip. I was doing some rolling with somebody who was a judo practitioner.
Yeah.
And they hip tossed me, and I landed right on my hip, and I was like, "Oh, you mother!"
You're like, I
son
got a
of a
bone
bitch.
bruise.
Yeah, because I mean, they asked me if it was okay to try it,
Yeah.
and I said, yeah, it's fine, because I thought I could, pull guard or something like that, or not pull guard, but defend against it. And nope,
Nope. They still got it.
yep, still got it.
That's like going against guys with who. You practice Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, don't you?
Oh yeah, I'm a black belt, and also Muay Thai.
I mean, because like the hip throw with judo is similar to quite a few of the moves within Jiu-Jitsu, BJJ.
Not really. There is. We have some defense against wrestling techniques or takedown techniques.
Yeah.
Which is what I was hoping I could use.
Yeah.
But like you remember Ronda Rousey?
Yeah.
Her big thing was she was a world-class judo artist.
Yeah.
Judoka. And what you would see in her fights is she would get into an immediate clinch and hip toss somebody, get them on the ground,
And then pound the ground.
and then submit them.
Or ground and pound. Oh yeah, she did submit them, didn't she?
She would do a lot of hip tosses or hip throws and then an arm bar.
Yeah.
She was so quick on her transitions, but that was her claim to fame.
Yeah.
What happened was
huge
somebody
for like a year and then gone.
Oh, she was the biggest thing in MMA.
Yeah.
For like a year or 2 years, something like that. And it took one fighter to figure her out, that I could stand up and box with her.
Yep.
That happened to be Misha Tate, which came kind of out of nowhere. But, and then Holly Holmes, and then all of a sudden you got some really contenders that just straight up boxed her.
Yeah.
Just pummeled her, and there was nothing she could do about it because her boxing coach sucked.
Or
She sucked.
Or when Holly Holm delivered that kick to the head and she went down.
Oh yeah. That was unreal. I remember the promo. I think it was for her last fight, where they were showing Ronda coming back. This was going to be her comeback. It was going to be this big deal, and they showed her in the gym, basically airboxing.
Yeah.
And her technique was awful.
Really?
When I say it was awful, if I stood you up, Israel, and showed you a couple of jabs and a couple of punches, you would look semi-competent at it.
Well, I would hope
She
so.
looked like somebody who was never thrown a punch before.
Really?
Now, listen, she was a world-class martial artist, no doubt. But those boxing skills, watch the video of it. It's even as an amateur, somebody who occasionally watches boxing or knows what boxing is, you watch her, it's like embarrassing. Like, this is what you're going to show on your comeback promo? This shit?
Yeah.
Anyway, so sneakers, self-laced, remote control with your phone. You can control the
I'm gonna hack your
tight they are and how loose
sneakers.
they are. Dude, as soon as I saw that advertisement, I'm like, ready for some shoe exploits. Shoe exploits.
Oh my gosh.
I can imagine the athletic shoes and someone's running along. Wait, can you hear me?
Almost.
No,
I can hear me now.
barely.
Yeah, I can just imagine. I'm so used to have the MacBook where I have a built-in microphone. I can just imagine someone running along in their athletic shoes, and then someone all of a sudden making them untie instantly. I'm assuming they don't have ties. I'm assuming they have something else.
Actually, can you think about that? Or like
They don't actually have shoe strings, it looks like. It looks like it's something built in. Like maybe there's strings inside of it.
probably like some type of
then-
wire
then-
and then a mechanism that winds the wire around or something. And
I don't know. Maybe. I saw the Nikes. Look at the Nikes. They're self-signing shoes.
yeah.
They look badass. They
Yeah.
are tight. I would buy them. They're $350.
I mean,
They
can
have these little lights that glow, and you could set the colors and shit. They have like 2 lights on the the outside of each side of the shoe.
yeah.
Nope. Well, I simply refuse to do that. Nope. I would not buy them.
No. When I look at them, I'm not of the age where I'm going to go out and buy trendy sneakers. But when I looked at those things, I think about when I was younger, and I would have certainly did everything I could to buy them. But they got tightness settings, so you control with your phone, and you could create a profile for basketball. Let's say when you play basketball, you want your shoe tighter, right? Than when you're just out at the mall or something. So you can hit the button basketball, and it tightens your shoes to whatever tightness you like it at. You can also control left versus right. Let's say your left foot wants your left foot to be a little tighter than your right foot, whatever. My whole thing is wanting to get a hold of them to see what you can do with them.
Yeah.
Because there's an interface between the shoe and the phone. Is there a way to control the phone from the shoe?
Well, even if not, which there probably is.
I mean,
But
it's probably Bluetooth.
yeah, I'm sure it's Bluetooth. But think even in some sporting events, say like the Boston City Marathon, if somebody was like a quarter mile from the end in the lead,
Oh yeah.
wearing those, then all of a sudden, I'm staying a sideline and I'm able to
You
get in
loosen
there
them completely.
and I completely loosen their shoes. Like, holy, because there's people who come from other countries and they're like, the epitome of their country by winning the Boston Marathon and some of these other
Talking
events.
about like Kenyans and shit, and Ethiopians and whatnot. Yeah. I don't think they run in like
they don't.
$350 shoes.
But our contenders do, and probably European types of contenders. There was one group, it may have been Kenya, that would take like old car tires and essentially cut out the pattern of their foot on a car tire, and then they like put kind of this
tie some rope, right? Like this.
Some type of rope around it. And that's what they ran in.
Yeah, and they run a crazy distance.
Yeah,
like 270 miles or some crazy.
Yeah, whatever.
Joke for them.
Yeah.
What is this shit? I ran this far, for whatever.
Yeah.
To pick up my wife for a date.
My wife for a date.
Like they are such good runners, and it's such a part of their culture. It's unreal.
It really
the
is.
fact that they win every single year. It's West Africans, right? That's the
I think so.
that's the folks who generally
Wait.
win these.
Kenya,
events.
Kenya and Ethiopia are East Africa.
Yeah. Okay. It might be. Yeah. Yeah. I can't remember which side. I don't know if I was right with Kenyans or Ethiopians. But
Yeah,
I
they
was trying to
usually are.
remember.
Are they the ones who are the runners?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Africans would be the-
I mean, we knew Darren would know, so we just had to hold on long enough for him to be able to respond.
Yeah. No, I think it's wild that you have this this group of people that come from very specific parts of the world that just dominate
Well,
marathons.
there's two reasons for that. One is they have a body structure for it, long, lean legs, but they also, when they train in a highly mountainous region, which is very thin air.
So limited
That's what I was
oxygen.
just talking about. They were
when they get to the lower
270 miles.
regions, when they get to lower regions, they have a lot more oxygen. So it's basically a natural turbo.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have Denver and we have Woods here.
Wait, what Woods?
Why aren't people from Boston going to Denver and training for 2 years to run the Boston Marathon and beat the Kenyans? Now, you said body composition is part of that, which
they
would agree with.
They have the long musculature. It's like way their legs and torsos are shaped that makes them better for running.
Is it right that people used to think black people could jump higher because they had extra muscles in their legs?
No, not.
Was that the trope?
And Ricky, on a side note, you are breaking up a little bit here and there.
Yeah, I'm actually in another room on Bluetooth headphones, so my bad.
You're 18 foot away.
Yeah.
It was some China stuff that Darren wanted to talk about, I think, and
Yep, and then close it out.
Yes.
Oh, were y'all waiting for me to get to that?
Yeah, yo.
Okay.
Sure, why not?
Step on some landmines.
we'll cover
I
something
can't
on
be the
top,
only one.
perhaps, and then we'll go off air to talk about other shit.
Okay, well, we're talking about my part there. So China, there's two articles here. One I want to talk about last week, but I was not here for that. So
we're not going to talk about Chinese people. All right, we're done with the landmine.
Yeah. So
Ricky did enough.
The first one is about Huawei, which is facing charges in the U.S. and abroad for basically being spies. Which it's the Chinese. Surprise, surprise. They face several charges. I think one of their high execs was arrested. Looking to be
Canada.
In Canada.
Actually, arrest. Oh yeah. He was, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Because they generally, we'll get pictures of them. We will see that they're part of the Chinese Ministry
of
Defense, and we can't do anything about it. We know who they are. We got pictures of them inside of their rooms. We got personal photos of them, yada, yada, yada. We put out arrest warrants for them, and that's it. That's all we can do.
Yep. And this is not the first time that Huawei has been, or even China in general, has been charged with stealing. And let's face it, Huawei had issues in the past with Cisco software where they were pilfering the code wholesale, putting their products, going so far as to even having some bugs replicate in both software.
Yeah.
So
now, is it just real quick, just for clarification, is it Huawei or Huawei? I've heard it Huawei, but I don't know.
Huawei, and I'm just bastardizing it. So
okay, I heard that too, and then I heard so there is a conspiracy out there that the U.S. government, effectively, Huawei was selling servers or something to Iran.
Yeah,
and the U.S. government got pissed at them.
And North Korea, yes. No, it's not a conspiracy. It's proven.
Yeah, that's validated.
Okay. And so what they were saying was, then the U.S. government then was saying, don't buy Huawei phones because they have spy tools embedded in them.
Yes.
Well, they've gone beyond that. Like they're banning them from sale for military use.
So both are true.
yes, both are 100% true.
Yes.
Yeah, I got you.
And
That's kind of
given
interesting.
And given the history of the Chinese, I would be absolutely not surprised at all if there was any truth at all to them having spy tools on there.
No, I told a lot of you about my trip to China. There was an Apple store, except for it wasn't an Apple store.
Yep.
It looked like an Apple store. Every computer and phone in there looked like Apple phones.
Yeah.
They just didn't have any of the Apple shit like on the windows or anything. It was in some Chinese language, but it wasn't Apple shit. It was all stolen stuff.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I
mean, it's not necessarily stolen. I mean, it's
they inspired.
As I understand it, to do business in China,
you got to give
the
up.
company has to give pretty much their IP over to them or their specs.
Yep.
To them for their hardware and software.
Is interested in it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then what they do is they then take those designs and they go, okay, we're going to replicate it.
Yeah, I mean it's the same thing that Microsoft did in the late 90s. The Chinese government said, "Fuck it, we're going to Linux." Bill Gates said, "Hold up. What can we do to do business?" And there was like, "Give us your source code for Windows, and then we'll consider it. Make sure that there's no backdoors or whatever." And he handed it the fuck over.
It sounds fairly legitimate, right? But we have common interests, but we have a lot of common disinterest, for lack of a better term. Meaning that we are adversaries and everything except for we're not actually fighting them. We have competing interests in some areas. So I can see the Chinese government being suspicious of American software and hardware as we are of theirs.
And
I know the argument I hear from Silicon Valley types on the whole Huawei, or however you pronounce it, ban is the logic that the U.S. governments use against China, i.e., of course they're spying for the Chinese government. It's their premier telecommunications company.
Yep.
I mean, that same logic can be applied against the U.S. by any foreign company.
Oh, sure.
There was no explicit public record. Here's an example of the Chinese government inserting mandating backdoors into Huawei routers and switches and firewalls and whatever the hell. That's the biggest issue, and it's a sympathetic argument.
Story. It was written, so it was found by some conservative blog that servers from China were being implanted with some backdoor. And people laughed at them for a while and said, no, they had security engineers check it over. I think I'm getting this story right. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh, yes, that was
I will correct myself later.
Crap. Was that a
underscore silo underscore? If you want to hate tweet me. But isn't that right? Like they some conservative rag.
Initially that was what came out, but then nobody was able to validate the claim. All the companies who looked into it,
that was a Supermicro issue, wasn't it?
Supermicro. Yeah, like 3-4 months ago.
Yeah.
And
now,
nobody
did they
was
find
able
later
to validate
that it was, in fact, have backdoors or no?
No.
I believe not, but that was the case of inserting a hardware backdoor, but
correct.
We have seen them insert software backdoors and other malicious things. I mean, let's face it, OnePlus. I used to have OnePlus 3T on my last phone, and I saw at least 3 separate instances of them
dare you
on your data. What?
You only want the U.S. government sniffing on your data, my friend.
I trust them a little more. I mean, that should say something right there. I trust them a little bit more.
You do?
A little bit more.
The U.S. government over Chinese? Yes.
I didn't say I trust. I said
only
I trust
because
them more.
only because we're citizens of the country, but they do an awful lot of spying on us.
Agreed. But GCHQ, I trust them more than China. I trust Israel more than China. There's quite a few countries in general.
How about the KGB?
No.
Do you trust North Korea?
No.
Of course not.
All three and Iran are all in the same bucket for me from a
Have you ever
perspective.
bought anything from North Carolina or North Korea? North Carolina?
I wasn't aware they made anything for export.
Yeah, I
other than,
didn't
bread.
realize
don't.
that
They
they
have
were
no
importing.
They have none.
Sure they do.
And if they do, it all goes through China, I would suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's where they get all their stuff is through China.
Yep.
I'm surprised, and we talked about this offline. I'm surprised that there hasn't been a proxy war because of that.
There is.
Yeah.
We're looking at
it. Yeah.
Wait, like a war with bullets and shit?
No.
No.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
Software side.
Cyber war.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, I agreed with that. I meant like, like the Russians and I think the Ukrainians were supplying some of the missile technology to the North Koreans. The Chinese were
Russia
supplying
was.
other parts.
I don't think Ukraine
Russia and the
was.
Ukraine, because
I
the
think it was-
Ukraine has the biggest stockpile of nuclear weapons in that area. That's why Russia wanted them.
Pretty sure that was the Ukraine back when they were part of the USSR. I'm
Yes.
pretty sure that's not
Yeah.
modern Ukraine.
Forever ago. Yeah, because Russia, is trying to take over Ukraine and the Crimean Peninsula and all that fun stuff right now.
Okay, to be completely fair, I spent until about 6 months ago, I spent 4 years working right next door to a Ukrainian.
Yeah.
So I am 100% taking his word on this.
And there are two separate types of Ukrainians. Because
there's 4 types.
Well, but I'll throw the big two at least in this current
Throw them out there.
time. Those who are for Russia and those who aren't.
Yeah.
Because there are Ukrainians who would be perfectly fine, being annexed by Russia and becoming part of Russia.
Yep.
And then you have the other side that completely hate Russia, want absolutely nothing to do with them. And so there's not only like Russia on the doorstep every single day of the week, but there's also internal struggles within the Ukraine of, anti Russia sentiment.
Yeah.
Internally. So
yeah, absolutely. We watched them annex Crimea and didn't do shit about it. But if for anybody listening or all of you on the cast, if you haven't listened to Dan Carlin's Ghost of the Ostfront, you gotta listen to it. Not only Dan Carlin is an amazing history storyteller. He has a podcast called Hardcore History, and I see Israel smiling. I'm not sure if that's because you know who he is.
Yeah.
But
it really is a good podcast.
It is probably my favorite. And he releases so infrequently. But that Ghost of the Ostfront tells the story of the Ukrainians during World War II.
Yeah.
They got fucked so hard in every way. So there was the pro-German Ukrainians. There was the pro-Russian Ukrainians. There was the pro-national sovereignty Ukrainians. And then there were just Ukrainians that wanted to stay out of it. And you didn't know who was who. So Ukrainians, even without Russia and Germany in their cities, would go house to house to figure out what side you were on. And you had a 75% chance of getting it wrong and getting killed. Where they would string up families.
95% of all statistics are created on the fly.
Well, I'm saying because there was 4 factions.
Yeah.
If there were 4 factions, you had potentially a 75% chance of getting the wrong faction. Meaning, they come to your door, they say, "What part? Who are you for?"
Yeah.
And you say, "I'm pro-Russian," and it's a pro-Ukrainian nationalist group, and they hang your entire family in front of you, or shoot all of you outside of your little hut. I mean, it's amazing. Just the and the storytelling about the war of Stalingrad, about Hitler's march into Russia, and people in tanks, and them going through hypothermia where they would get out and take their clothes off because they were so cold. And people that get that cold will sometimes start sweating and get so hot internally, it's their body reacting. So they were in like minus 40-degree weather or 60-degree weather, to the fact where the diesel and the tanks were freezing up and they couldn't move.
Would turn to gel.
Hitler would not send them any winter supplies. The general said, "Hey, we need to stop. We can," because they were almost going to take over Moscow. I mean, they were on the doorsteps, like a mile away or some shit.
Well, no, it's not that. It's not that Hitler was unwilling to send them winter clothes. It's just that
he said it in the letter.
No, it's just that the supply lines were so fucking broken, because the thing with Blitzkrieg is move fast, move fast, move fast, move fast, move fast.
There's a whole catalog about what exactly happened, and you're right in some case. You're right in some instance, so I'm not going to discount that entirely. But when they were moving in, their supply lines were all connected, and the general stopped, sent a letter back to Hitler and said, "Hey, winter's coming. We need to stay where we're at. Wait the winter out, and then reconvene our attack." And that would have been the right move, because they probably would have beat Russia in that case. Because again, they were only a mile outside of Russia, and they were bombing it. And Stalin was ready to surrender. And then winter hit. The Blitzkrieg was fast attack. That was their methodology. The generals saw it coming. Who was it? Napoleon or somebody else made that same mistake. Yeah, made that same mistake, right? He tried to march into Russia in the winter, and that's not a good move. So in any case, just the stories, because they've got written testimony from people that wrote in their diaries and shit before they died. And he goes through some of those stories. He reads out some of the things that they were writing. It's just heart-wrenching. You see the levels human beings can dip to in certain circumstances. Like the Battle of Stalingrad, look up the death numbers. It's crazy. Just unreal numbers of people died.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Crazy, yo.
We have one more thing that Darren has.
Yeah.
Which is still China, I think.
Yeah, it is. It's let me pull it back up here. So the Chinese police, the Ministry of State Security, is basically China's spy agency, has the power to do inspections through their local or remote of any computer system that is operating in their network. So, including foreign companies too. So let that sink in. So basically that means that the MSS can go in there and do a remote audit of your system if it's in China at any time they please.
And see, that's something here. I haven't heard anything about it recently, but here, like, when was that? Probably a year and a half, 2 years ago, that they were starting to say here in the U.S., like, if you can't protect your systems, we'll come in and make sure they are up to speed, blah, blah, blah. And we in the security community all went, that.
Yeah.
And
They-
I haven't heard another word since. But yeah, that is pretty screwed up.
But
That
they can
reminds
do
me-
it for just inspection, though. There's a difference there. There's a big
Inspection. Yes.
That reminds me, you're talking about the Japan thing?
No. U.S. side.
Oh.
It was
Yeah,
like-
because at the time, like these fairly large breaches were a new thing, and the administration at the time was on the side of consumers. Well, how do we show that we are willing to protect consumers? And so that's where that sort of policy theory came out.
Yeah. It started with the Home Depots and all those.
And they've
Whenever all
shown
that started hitting.
the indecisiveness on their end means the administration does jack shit. They don't
Well-
protect consumers. They don't give more than a
Yes.
hand slap to the worst of the worst violators.
But in the same sense, kind of influencers within the industry went back and said, okay, so here is X, Y, and Z, where the government also did not protect its stuff. Why are you going to try to come down on us if we can't, and try to, you come in and regulate it whenever you can't protect your things?
Just because bad stuff happened in the past does not mean there shouldn't be corrections going forward.
But the corrections that they wanted was them coming in and doing the alteration and them doing the configs and
Government? God, no.
Yes.
I mean, that's like the blind leading the blind. It's the most charitable, kind-hearted thing you can possibly say there.
yes, and there was no organization, there was nothing. It was them coming out saying, if you don't kind of get it up to par, we're going to get it up to par. Well, who's going to get it up to par? If you're going to send somebody in, you don't have an agency who's going to do that. You don't have any roadmap to be able to do that. And
Protect your own wheelhouse before telling us how to protect ours is kind of the way to put it.
Yeah.
And no matter how much certain areas of the government might have technical expertise, it's clear that there's a bigger urgency to protect commercial sector than there is to really protect their own wheelhouse, so to speak. At least that's the perception I get. It's just I'm not speaking from any observation of policy. No, it's just personal observation. It's just heuristics.
Well, I mean, I'm just because
That's
I was
wrong word, but you know what I mean.
because I was in the government at that time, and so there was discussions about it, and that's what came about. It was just the position that administration was willing to take at the time.
Yep.
I know nothing about the government.
They just wanted to talk tough because it was like such a new thing on scales that they haven't seen before.
Yeah.
Well, if they haven't seen it before, that's.
I mean, they had seen it, but the consumer side had not seen it.
Who's that?
Okay,
A government between private sector type.
Yeah, stateside, we've been seeing large scale attacks ongoing forever. Ever since it was possible.
There's a info sharing between the U.S. government and private sector companies, but I don't think they give us everything they have. Obviously.
Oh no! The only things that we regularly see are things that have been made public, and then they totally share freely. There we go.
Well, I mean, at that point,
Well,
it's
I mean,
more incident response than
Yes,
incident prevention.
correct.
But I mean, it has to hit a certain threshold before, like OPM. You can't necessarily sweep a breach like that underneath the rug because it affected so many people that the information was going to get out there anyway.
That's kind of funny. I've seen some pictures of OPM's downplaying the impact of the OPM breach, stating, "Look at the size of the Equifax breach. I mean, by comparison, the OPM breach affected so few people. Stop looking at us."
Yeah.
They had this whole chart of bar graphs and everything. It's the gall of them is amazing there. Wow.
I real quick want to give credit to Michael in chat.
Yes.
I don't want to
he's been chatty.
mispronounce his name, but I feel like I'm gonna try in the future to stay on top of comments because he did add some interesting nuance and good points to some of the things I was saying, corrections and things like that. So thank you, Michael. It's appreciated. You know, when we get off the topic of InfoSec, we're treading into areas where we may not have the expertise to be talking as if we do have expertise. And I'm talking about myself, not the gentleman on the podcast, Darren.
Can you elaborate on what Michael said?
So,
and so also Michael's over on YouTube.
Yeah, he's on YouTube.
Yeah.
There's a couple of comments that I don't know where it lines up with our discussion. He did confirm that Ukraine does have a military rocket plant.
Yes.
It's called Yusmash. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. And they in general built most of the Russian nuclear delivery systems, which is what my Ukrainian coworker had said. He also kind of clarified what I was talking about when somebody is so cold that they start stripping off their clothes. He says when the body gives up thermoregulation in the freezing cold, it feels like being hot, but you're not warm at all. It means you're severely hypothermic and dying.
And Ricky's throwing singles.
Oh, shit. The only thing I knew about Ukraine was supposedly the condition of them joining, I think it was NATO? I don't know. I think it was NATO.
Yeah, they're not a NATO member. They want to be, but they're not.
Well, some popular treaty they had with the U.S. With the condition of them joining it was that they disarm their. They denuclearize, whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
They get
and I think they
than
did,
this.
right? I think they did.
I think so.
Because I remember seeing some political science type saying
which made them a sitting target for Russia.
Well, I just remember the condition of that was that the U.S., the United States, would come help them out, would come protect them in case there's any kind of aggression against them. And obviously that didn't happen, which pissed off the Ukrainian government. That's all I heard.
So the New York Times reported back in August 2017 that North Korea's missile success is linked to Ukrainian plant.
Yeah.
Which is where I got the story. I just didn't know where I got it from. So that's interesting. But he, the Secretary of State didn't blame Ukrainian Russia, although Rex Tillerson made an oblique reference to both China and Russia as the nation's principal economic enablers, the nation being North Korea. So Ukraine, while they may have been linked to North Korea's missile success, it seems like the enablers really are China and Russia. There's a factory in Dnipro, Ukraine. Again, pronunciation's obviously going to be off here. Where at the time, I don't know if they're still doing this, but they were fighting a low-level war. I remember reading almost every day and teasing my Ukrainian friend. He comes from the Ukraine. He came here when he was 20, and teasing him about the failings of the Ukrainian cybersecurity. I mean, Russia was literally taking over their small missiles.
Yes.
And tractors and shit like that. It was wild. Power plants, stuff like that. It was pretty crazy for a time there. Sorry, Michael. I don't want to step on feet here. Yeah, he's kind of going on more about the nuclear weapons. We did say that we believe nuclear Ukraine disarmed.
Well, what
The
what you were
Budapest, memorandum is that Russia, they would give up their nukes, and Russia would never would agree to never attack them.
Yep, and we've seen how well that worked out.
Yeah, Crimea. Yeah, we just march right in, and we're supposed to be allies with the Ukrainians, and we did shit about it. I don't know what we should have done, but I don't know how many more restrictions we can place on Russia. Like literally, like what else?
Like right now they're more restricted than they've ever been in history.
It's crazy.
Yeah, like more sanctions, less. I don't know if we give them any aid, but if we do, it's lessened. So
guess who they're dealing with? China.
Well, yeah, and Russia was here. China and Russia. Oh, when was that? About a year ago.
Each other.
They were trying.
No,
because the U.S. dollar is no, they don't hate each other. They were like
no. It's not that they hate each other. It's just that if they did not have to deal with each other, they probably wouldn't.
Yeah, but they have so much commerce back and forth. I don't see how they couldn't deal with each other.
I'm just saying, like when
even down into the security side, whenever they, you got Russian guys.
No, because I mean they've
Soviet split is where I'm going. And
right.
Yeah, like
had bad relations.
School, yes.
They've had bad relations since like even 1991.
No,
it was before that.
No. Yeah, the split was in back in the days of the People's Republic of China and the Mao Revolution and Marxists and all that kind of stuff. But
but even today, a lot of the Russian syndicates proxy off of Chinese servers to come and do their various attacks. I mean,
of course, because
they do that constantly.
Because here's the Russian side of it. We don't, and this was always their position, especially when it came to cybersecurity. We don't care
English.
We don't care what you do elsewhere. Just don't do it here because we will nail you.
Yeah.
And it's the same.
100% right.
And it's the same with the Chinese. So you got Chinese hackers using servers in Russia.
Yeah.
Because they don't care. Just don't do it to us.
Yeah.
Dude, this Michael guy is just spitting facts.
Yeah.
I assume they're facts, but great job. Thanks for watching and being correcting us where needed. Appreciate it. Jack does that himself as well. He will correct us when we're wrong.
One small thing, it's going to sound a little SJW, but when you talk about Ukraine, don't use the word "the Ukraine." That is a kind of a harbinger back to old Soviet days when they were a Soviet territory.
Have I said that?
Yes, several times.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, like if you actually mention like a Ukrainian person, they may get mad at that one because it has a connotation to it.
Yeah, that is true. I used to honestly do that back in the day just to annoy coworkers.
Well,
my dude never got mad at me for that. But I used to call him the Mad Russian all the time, and he got pissed at that.
Yeah, don't compare the two because some of them some of them don't care, some of them will fucking hate each other.
The Mad Russian.
It's like us and Mexicans, or us and Dominicans.
When you say us, you mean Puerto Ricans.
Not Puerto Ricans.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would think I'm talking about whales and Mexicans.
and sea lions.
Yes, I'm lions. Yes, I'm talking about you dirty El Salvadorian.
So, Ricky,
you motherfucker.
Love you, man.
So, Ricky, I heard you were out clubbing baby sea lions lately, or recently.
I don't even know what that's referencing, but okay.
Well, you know the old joke.
Clubbing baby seals.
A baby seal walks into a club.
I know that joke. That's funny. I don't know where Israel is coming with the clubbing baby seals.
That takes me back to my grade school days.
I know it
There's an
does.
equal amount of jokes killing innocent animals as there were dead baby jokes.
Really?
Actually, probably more dead baby jokes.
Wait.
Mine was
Liz, how
talking
old are
about
you?
people's heads. or
I'm
their
in my
butt.
early 30s.
Oh, okay. Like that was not a thing whenever I was in
Dead baby
school.
jokes?
Yeah.
I remember being
We
told
had
back in my time. My favorite was
we had your mama jokes. We
Yeah,
had
your mama was
head jokes
yes.
like
No,
4x4 head, shit like that.
Yeah.
Remember, as early high school, dead baby jokes were the thing.
Really?
I remember that in maybe middle school, maybe near high school. That's starting to become a thing.
Could have been middle school. Could have been middle school.
I couldn't listen to them.
bowling balls and a truckload of dead babies.
So what
Yeah,
was the
I
first
couldn't
part?
listen to them. They're too much for me.
What is the difference between a truck full of dead babies and a truck full of bowling balls?
I haven't.
I'm gonna have to mute myself or mute the stream.
You can't unload the bowling balls with a pitchfork.
Oh yeah, I heard variant of that one.
Ah, it's over. That's good.
The one I heard was what's worse than a pile of dead babies? There's a live one at the bottom. What's worse than that? It's eating its way out. What's worse than that? It came back for seconds.
All right, everybody. We have a Discord channel.
Yep.
Please join us. It's in the show notes. You can see it on the in the YouTubes. Just below the subscribe button. Please subscribe to Adrian's channel. He's got a lot of good shit done here, except for this garbage that we went through tonight.
Ricky.
And it was mostly almost 90% me. So I apologize for that. But please join us on Discord where we can chat and Israel will for a price do some cybering.
Yes. And
Right.
I will define cybering later.
On that note, I think we're going to stop the live stream if that's okay with you guys.
All right.
Sounds
That's
like
where
a
I was
plan.
trying to go.